He cheated on me while I was pregnant. I don't need him.
You don't need him.
That's right.
Kick him out.
You don't need that piece of trash.
No one needs him.
In April, when I was 12 weeks pregnant, I found out that my female 28 husband, male 28, had recently started cheating on me with a girl at his work. And I still haven't gotten over it. And by the way, this comes from someone who's not a trash person. It comes from user Falling For You Ananon on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, we've been married since summer of 2018, but together since summer of 2014. It's nearly our 9-year anniversary now, and I'm currently 30 weeks pregnant with our first child. I always thought that if my partner ever cheated on me, I would be out the door in a hurry because it's a type of disrespect I could never stand for. However, I never thought it would happen to me, let alone after I had put 8.5 years into this man, plus a house, 2 cars, 2 dogs, a cat, and a baby we both wanted for as many years at that point. I know I am more sensitive right now due to the pregnancy, but it's now August and I am so tired of waking up hurting every day. After I found out about the cheating, I confronted him, and he admitted that he had started sleeping with her and at the time had done so 3 times. I was in my first trimester, and he knew how sick I had been, literally spending all day, every day, barfing. My morning sickness lasted until about dinner time, usually, and sleeping. Hope he's just barfing and sleeping.
Sleep.
He has a job that has always kept him pretty busy, but he would always check in with me throughout the day. I work from home and am self-employed, making much less money than him, but was something we had discussed in depth after the loss of my first pregnancy, and agreed that me being home and dealing with the house and pets was something we should try. Plus, we both wanted me to be a stay-at-home mom for whenever we did have a baby, so while I made less, it was something we fully agreed on together. When he would check in, it was always so sweet. He called me in between meetings, on the road, driving, anytime he was free, and he would text me to announce his safe arrival every time he had to go anywhere. It was never a burden that I asked for him to check in because we both just naturally wanted to talk to each other all the time during free moments in the day, which is how our relationship had been for the entire duration. There was no asking at all, really. It's just how it was with us. I gave him another chance when I confronted him because I was so blindsided. It didn't make sense to me, and now it still doesn't, but I was 12 weeks along with a baby I had been wishing for years. We struggled with conception, and I had a vision in my head of our family that I couldn't let go of. We agreed that he would go into work and end it with her the next morning, which he didn't think would be an issue because it was just the spicy sleep, and they had no feelings involved. Yeah, oh, that makes it okay. Yeah, you can cheat on your
Pregnant wife.
Pregnant wife, I didn't feel anything emotionally.
So it's fine. I'm actually in the clear.
I'm actually a cold-hearted psychopath, so if... No, okay,
I have no emotions at all.
Yeah, let it be known that this girl knew about me, and I had stopped in at his office many times for lunch visits with my husband, and he had photos of me on his computer and desk, so there were constant reminders that I was real for the both of them. He told me in later conversations that before the affair started, she would joke with him that I'm too hot for him, and she planned on stealing me away. She apparently is bi with a heavy lean towards women, and when my husband would talk about her before the affair, I was told she was lesbian and that he and all the guys at work, besides one, found her highly unattractive. What happened when he ended it with her is I guess she took it all right, left, and then a few hours later came back and begged him not to leave her. He told me that she was crying and clinging on to him, and there was something about abandonment issues that I truthfully do not care about because I was his partner of almost 9 years and carrying his child.
Literally. Who cares about this girl? You are the affair partner.
Babe,
I'm
she
sorry.
has abandonment issues, babe. What was I supposed to do?
She would have been really upset if I had left her.
Don't you know? I was just trying to be nice.
Nah.
Don't you
this is
want
ridiculous.
a nice husband?
I'm like, you can't be mad that you started dating a spade if you knew it was a spade.
He told me that he had ended their relationship. Next, he went on to get tested. There was no crossover at all while this was going on, and he was clean. He showed me all the test results as this was an important stipulation, obviously. For the next month, I watched him leave early morning and broke down as soon as he left, sometimes begging before he went to work for him to call in sick and stay home with me. I was a wreck. We had a vacation planned for months before coming up in May, and I somehow thought it would be good for us to get away and just be the two of us. I was counting down the seconds until until that trip, keeping everything I was going through just to myself and quickly deteriorating. In that month, I lost 22 pounds because I could not eat, and every time I did, I would barf. My husband watched me in agony, a complete shell of who I once was, trying to grow our child and not being able to stomach food literally at all. It got so bad that my whole face broke out in what looked like hives from how hard my body was trying to throw up when there was nothing left inside me every day. Like the little blood vessels popped all over my skin from sobbing and puking all day.
Hospital separation from this man, because clearly, like, even if, it's like, oh, I don't know if I can do it alone. Right now, your safety and your health is at risk because of him. So you need to get out of there.
Yeah, 100%. We went on our trip. What?
Girl,
I hope it was a trip to the hospital. And it was painful. There were good times, but also I was still so broken and had no trust in him. This whole month-long period, I felt something was still off, but he gave me access to his phone and I would check it in front of him. And also whenever he was asleep or in the shower, just to be sure. After the vacation, it got really, really bad for me. The intuition in my head that I felt back in April had never really gone away, but it was so incredibly loud that I felt like I was going crazy. He was telling me he loved me, reassuring me that it was really over with her and that he was going to be a good husband to me and the best father to our daughter. No matter how much I wanted to believe him, there was something in me telling me he was lying. While he showered one morning, I went into the bathroom to pee and his phone was sitting on his pile of work clothes for when he got out. I grabbed it and brought it with me while I peed, thinking it would be like every other time where I looked at his phone and found nothing. Instead, in his WhatsApp, there was a thread of messages with her from the night before. Well,
you need to leave him.
I guess he proved you wrong now.
Like, it's literally not helping you at all to be with this man. I feel like she's somewhat staying with him for the kid, but you need to leave him for the kid.
Yeah. 100%. Day before was a long work day for him, something I dreaded even before the affair because being apart from him for crazy hours made me miss him, but I knew there was no way to avoid it. I remember I had offered to bring him food for lunch even though we lived an hour away from the office, and he told me not to worry about driving, that he'll bribe one of the guys into bringing him something so I didn't have to waste the gas money. In reality, she was bringing him lunch and he was texting her about it at the same time he was texting me. Those texts haunt me so badly even now. She has told him, I missed you, and he replied the same. So clearly they had only progressed more in the last month.
I thought it wasn't emotional. I thought it was just a physical relationship, you liar.
This guy's already earned the black hole treatment from me. When she was bringing him lunch, he told her, I just want you and a burger. And then there was some hours later messages where they laughed about getting everyone out of the office inconspicuously so they could be alone. And she said, now I get to have you. And reading those messages 16 weeks pregnant and the first thing in the morning quite literally made me want to cease existing. When confronted, he promised me that they didn't have the spicy sleep, even though it sounded like it would happen in those messages, but that he has still been sleeping with her. Just not that day, I guess. Horrible thing to have to read for OP. I just,
Yeah.
This is like the most nightmare text. It's making my stomach flip even thinking about this.
Oh, man.
This was back in May. I left him the next day, after I confronted him again, and he admitted that he never actually stopped. He tried, and his story was half true. He says that when he spoke with her, she came back crying and begging, and then apparently forced him into an empty office where she tried to do some spicy things to him. He promised me that he stopped her and shoved her away, lie, but that she had gotten his pants down and gotten this is the dumbest lie of all time.
Okay.
He's like, nothing happened. It's just one time my pants were accidentally down.
It seems like he's a freaking liar, and he's like, oh yeah, she pulled my pants down and we had a little bit of spicy sleep, but
So he says nothing happened that day. He swore to me, but that in his mind it was over then because in our initial conversation, I told him I would give him a second chance, but if he did this again, I would leave him. He counted this as doing it again, even though when he broke down and told me this, it sounded more like she did the SA on him while he was saying no, rather than him cheating another time, which again, I'm fully convinced this guy's lying. But he didn't see it that way at the time and thought I'd leave if he told me and figured he might as well not stop if I was just going to find out and leave him in the long run because he had already messed up. Now, fast forward to August, I've been living alone since May. I left him the day after I found out the second time, going to stay with my aunt for a few days with my dogs. I ended up coming back to the house and kicking him out because it didn't seem fair to me that everyone besides him had to suffer. Yeah.
Finally,
good job,
kick
OP.
him out. That's your house. Take that house.
Get out of here.
I hope he has to go find like a full new house, and you get the house, and you get all the money, and we never have to see him again.
Me being pregnant and hauling around two 6-year-old dogs who are very used to being homebodies and were confused and stopped eating due to the stress. Plus, our cat, who is deeply bonded to me and is used to me being home with her all day, was now left alone while he was working for 10 plus hours, and all of our animals are friends, so it was really effed up for everyone but my husband, who was the one who did the wrong thing anyways. So now I'm 30 weeks pregnant, preparing to sell our house and move back into my dad's house with the 3 animals and my daughter when she's born. And I'm still so hurt. I really felt like this man was the love of my life and my soulmate. All of our friends who I've spoken to about our separation, I cannot afford a lawyer until the house sells, and I'm unfortunately a sorry excuse of a woman and sob whenever I think of the word divorce, even though I know that has to be the one of the steps I take down the line. I have been absolutely shocked due to how out of character this was of him. We were known as the couple that could handle anything together. My family was the same way because of how wonderful my husband was to me for 8.5 years. He was so emotionally supportive and sweet, and I like to think I was to him as well. I lost my mom, who was my best friend, and we together lost our first child, and he dealt with going no contact with his mother, and we were truly each other's rock for so long through all of those moments, just to name a few. And I'm carrying his daughter, who I love deeply already. I know he hurt me and changed me as a person, but it's so incredibly hard to forget the years of happiness I had with him and see that they're seemingly over now. The crappy thing is, I would probably take him back if he came to me and said all the right things and made the right promises and made me believe him, but instead I live alone while growing this baby and taking care of the animals we picked and have raised for 6 and 2 years together. Dealing with this trauma by myself, and he is all but living with the girl he cheated on me with. Every time I drive past his apartment, her car is there. Sometimes when even his car is gone.
Obviously, when there is kind of like an essay thing, you can have kind of emotional trauma. But I think going based off of his past lies and his behavior, the fact that he's living with her, like, he definitely lied about that.
Of course he would lie about that because he's a liar with no conscience for his lies, and it was like the most like first grade, like, how do I get myself out of this?
I didn't do it.
It wasn't me at all, it was just all her.
Yeah.
And then grazed my knee. And I was like, I remember if she said that I ever touched her again, it would be over. So I just decided to then fully cheat on you.
Yeah.
What? He promises that she doesn't have a key and that when the baby is born, she won't get in the way of him being a father. She hates children and babies, cats and dogs, so clearly she's a super great person on top of knowingly effing a married man. But at this point, it's been months of him knowing he's hurting me. We're still publicly married. His friends have no idea about any of this. Only our mutual friends and my family know any of what's happened, though not with all the details I've put in this post. I should mention that when I did come face to face with this girl only once, she laughed at what she had done. Ooh. And when I told her that she broke apart my family and took my daughter's father away before she was even born, she literally shrugged and muttered, "Yeah, I know.
She's evil!"
I only say this because I know people will say not to blame the affair partner, but only blame my husband, who was the one who broke his vows to me. But I fully blame them both.
The person who broke the vow with you is the person that you should direct your ire. The full, anger and argument should be directed toward your partner, but you know her. And you had a conversation with her. You're allowed to be mad at her and direct some ire towards her.
Some, yeah. All.
Yeah.
She knew what she was doing, and so did he. And she seems to like knowing how powerful she was in this situation. He tells me often that he doesn't want to end our relationship, but that right now he isn't right for me. That he can't be who he was because he effed up so badly that he doesn't know how to fix it. And now he's saying that going with monogamy just isn't for him, even though he and his affair partner are living together, recreating the life we had, living very obviously in monogamy.
No, he's just saying he doesn't want to do monogamy because he wants an excuse to cheat on this girl too.
Yeah, he's a bad
liar.
Bad
person. He's a bad liar and he's a bad person.
He's the worst liar. So it hurts so much because he's already replaced me with her. Some 20-year-old girl is sleeping beside my husband and having meals with him and sitting in his passenger seat. It just isn't how my life was supposed to go. I wish so much that I could stay firm on hating him because, trust me, I do. And I've had several hours over the last few months where I make sure he knows what he did to me and how much I hate him for ruining the woman I was before this betrayal. But I also love him still, and I want the family I was all but promised. We We couldn't get pregnant for nearly 3 years, and the month I did get pregnant, I literally told him, if it doesn't happen for us, it doesn't happen. I wanted to be a mom, but if it's not in the cards, I will come to terms with it, and I know I can be fulfilled in our relationship without a baby. And then I shockingly did get pregnant, and I felt like it was all falling into place finally, that we would be happy and us like I pictured, but now with a little baby we both daydreamed about for years. I'm really unsure how Reddit works, and I know this post is so long, so no one probably read it, and I don't really know why I wrote it here anyways. I know in this situation he's in the wrong, and I don't need anyone to point that out to me, and I also don't want anyone calling me names for still loving this man who had disrespected and mistreated me so immensely over the last 4 months. It's just coming up on our anniversary, and I'm desperately lonely in this quiet house that I now have to pack up all by myself, and I wanted a place to put my feelings. If you comment, please be nice. I feel stupid and weak enough as it is. I've been with him since we were both barely 19 and moved straight from my childhood home into an apartment with him. I've not spent a single adult year alone, and I'm just really sad all the time and don't know what to do. I try to go no contact with him, but we're selling a house, and I'm in my 3rd trimester with his baby. I just hate him, and I hate myself. I want him to wake up and see what he's doing, but I don't think he ever will because he has to avoid the accountability of his actions. Yeah, don't wait for that. That'll never happen. And don't hate yourself because you haven't done anything wrong here.
Nothing.
It's not like I could ever trust him again anyways, but now I have to co-parent a child with him for the next several years, and I don't feel strong enough for any of the future anymore. I don't know how he could do this to me. TLDR, I am a sad pregnant lady who doesn't know how to move on from my husband of nearly a decade cheating on me, and I needed a place to share what I'm going through. And we do have some comments.
Regardless of how much time you're with someone, whether it's 1 month or 9 years, there's gotta be a time period of just getting over them. And sometimes it feels irrational. Sometimes you're like thinking about a person for 2 months and you're like, why am I still thinking about them? It takes time. Grief is not a linear thing.
Yeah. Comments, Happy Banana 134. I am a sad pregnant lady who doesn't know how to move on from my husband of nearly a decade cheating on me. You need to add in strong. Seriously, you're super strong. Deciding to leave is really, really hard, and you've absolutely done the right thing here. Things are going to seem bleak, but they will get better. One day it'll hurt less, and then one day it won't hurt at all. He is the one losing here. He's thrown away a loyal partner and what could have been a happy family unit. All you've lost is someone you could never trust. OP says it's very hard for me to feel strong because it seems like this is the only thing I can think about every day. So thank you. It's difficult not to be hard on myself in this situation, but I do think you're right. I know that he is the one losing here. I just wish my daughter could have the life we both wanted for her for so many years, but he decided to ruin it for her. Nihilistic fish stick. I wanted you to know I read every word. You're a human being and nobody reasonable would expect you to be a robot. I left my relationship of 21 years almost 3 years ago, and even though I ended it for my own mental health and for my kids and have a fantastic partner now, there isn't a day that goes by that I don't get a random thought about him. The conversations we had, our routine, the dinners he cooked, the intimacy we had, all the family videos are still way in the back of my phone's gallery to this day. Your feelings are completely normal, and it will get better, I promise. You are the main priority at the moment, and you have to keep being strong to get yourself ready to move on and be there for your baby girl. The hard part is over, friend, and you survived it. You got this. OP says, I hope that one day I will be able to find a fantastic partner who will show my daughter the way a woman is supposed to be treated. I really thought I had that already, or else I wouldn't have procreated with him. Your story gives me hope. I'm in no place to go looking being 7 months pregnant, moving and emotionally effed up beyond belief, but maybe one day. And by the way, one day, could be today, could be tomorrow, could be every day for the rest of your life.
Or every day, every week.
As long as it's a weekday.
Yeah.
You can join us when we go live on YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, and Twitch at 3 p.m. PST. All you have to do is tap on our profile and you're in the live.
Tap it.
If you're watching this in the future, you might even be live right now.
Go check.
Update 10 months later. Ooh. If you don't want to read the whole post, the synopsis is essentially that my husband cheated on me after 8.5 years together while I was 12 weeks pregnant with our first child. That was a great synopsis, OP.
Yeah.
It's now June 11th, and my daughter just turned 8 months old. My water broke, and I drove myself to the hospital and then labored and gave birth alone. Woo! My daughter was born 2 weeks early only, and she was completely healthy and had no issues.
Yes.
She is doing amazing, and the love I have for her is so all-encompassing.
Yes. Yes.
that sometimes I don't even know what to do. She is a great baby and is so loved by not just myself, but my dad, my brothers, my aunt. She's adored by my whole family. And because we live with my dad, her birth has brought all of us closer together than we've been in a long, long time. I absolutely love being her mom. My ex-husband was served divorce papers in February by my dad, who volunteered to be the one to do it, and our divorce was finalized in May. The way that my feelings for him changed almost in an instant after I had given birth to my daughter was shocking, but it was like as soon as she was born, just the thought of this man disgusted me.
And sometimes there is that weird switch where like you find out information or something like this happens where you give birth to a child and you're like, oh, I actually hate that man.
Yeah.
I actually hate that person. I don't know why I was so hung up over them.
Psychological switch flipped.
Mm-hmm.
He visits for about an hour a week, once a week, and has done that since she's been born. We have a parenting plan in the works, but every time it's drawn up by my lawyer, he finds something else that's wrong with it and chooses not to sign. It's been very irritating having to deal with this man who I once loved and now don't recognize, and watch as he pretends on social media that he is an active, attentive father when I've done quite literally everything for this baby, and he does the barest minimum he can get away with. The next part may be very shocking, but the girl he cheated on me with and moved into an apartment with directly from our marital home ended up cheating on him literally within the same week that our divorce finalized. It took about a year, but he did come back groveling after all, which was absolutely wild to me. Now for the actual shocking part of this update. I have met a man. Oh yeah, get the after spending my entire pregnancy alone and heartbroken, I had sworn off men and relationships, and then this one just kind of appeared in my life. I have horrible trust issues now, and it's been really, really hard considering the deep betrayal that happened to me last year, but my boyfriend is the most gentle, calm, understanding guy I could have found. We met when my daughter was 2 months old, and he started taking me on little weekend dates for just a couple hours at a time, and was always very considerate of me having a newborn, which he reassured me several times over that was not an issue, and he actually has experience working with kids in the past. And then in March, we had the conversation and defined the relationship. In these past 6 months, he has met my family and has become one of my daughter's favorite people.
Yay! Oh, I'm so happy. What a positive twist to this story.
This is. I was like, is this going to be the first story where we're like, it's not a good one?
No.
We've had like all good bangers for stories today. I've met his brother and sister-in-law, and when his parents come into town later this month, he's introducing me, and we're all getting dinner together. I feel lucky to have this man in my life and a stable father figure for my daughter, and I'm really hoping he is actually who he's been showing me he is. Obviously, when my ex-husband came to apologize and cry for what he'd done to me, I was already very locked in with my boyfriend, but even if I hadn't been, the answer would have been a big N-O!
Because you did the work, you did the self-work to get over this man and, sort out your own life and your own, self-love journey, and you don't need him.
Our house has not sold yet, and I'm kind of losing my mind about that, but there's nothing to really be done to help that matter. I know this may sound like revenge corn on the cob, but I promise it's not. Karma has just been working hard for me and my little bean. My boyfriend dotes on us and makes me believe in love again. He's so handsome and so sweet and the complete opposite of who my ex-husband ended up being. I am really hoping he's a good egg because I accidentally fell in love with him when I didn't mean to. But I do now know that I was strong enough to leave a marriage with a baby on the way. So if he does end up screwing me over, I know I'll be strong enough to leave him too.
You don't need a man.
Nope. Don't need no man.
You don't need a man.
The fact that my ex's affair partner cheated on him absolutely tickles me, to be completely honest. I'm still living with my dad and 2 dogs and a cat that he abandoned me with during my pregnancy. But honestly, it could absolutely be worse. My dad helps as much as he can and loves his grandbaby so much. And it's been so sweet watching him turn into this absolute softie of a grandpa. I don't know if anyone remembers me or my post or if this update is necessary at all, but here it is. I am big time not in love with a guy who cheated on me, left me, and is an absent father to the baby I grew all on my own and raised all on my own. TLDR, I'm a single mother with a gorgeous baby girl, and we're both doing really, really well while I watch my cheating ex-husband's life slowly crumble into pieces.
I love it.
Yes.
You love to see it.
And we do have some comments.
Let's read them.
Libby's mom says, "Yay! Yay! You not only landed on your feet, but he got a taste of his own medicine. A truly satisfying update. Binzoma says it's not irony when if they cheated with you, they'll cheat on you comes to pass, but it sure is hilarious and satisfying to see. Congrats, OP. Keep on living your best life. And Samoers says, good job. You survived. It's all gravy from now on. He pretends on social media that he's an active, attentive father. Can you get some relative to be on watch out and shoot him down every time? He still hasn't even signed a parenting plan or sold the house. Good luck. You can do this. I believe in you. And that is the end of that story.
Lovely. Hope he's
OP,
killing it. You're
I
killing
can
it.
see it in my mind's eye right now. Oh, wow. That guy's hot.
Dang.
Whoa.
You're
That guy
killing
is
it.
so
Yeah,
hot.
that one. I became a stay-at-home dad for our kids, and now I feel like my wife is cheating on me. That's tragic.
Wow.
Just here to get straight to the point. My wife and I have been married since we were 25. We are 38 now. Wow. 13 years. We met in college, got married, and everything has been great. We both graduated, got good jobs, and started our lives together. Me and my wife both made good money, so money was never an issue for us. My wife worked for her dad's small business, while I worked for a very large company. After a few years, my boss left the company out of nowhere, and they needed someone to take over. The only person who knew how to run the department was me.
This guy.
This guy right here, who's got two thumbs and can run the department.
Over here.
So I got a major pay jump, better bonus, better benefits.
Let's go, baby.
The works. So at 28, I was probably making 3 times plus more than my wife. Okay, brag. At 28, the same year, my wife gave birth to our first daughter. Then 2 years later, our second. My wife, due to working for her father, was able to be more diverse in working. Well, around 5 years ago, my father-in-law passed away unexpectedly. That left my mother-in-law and wife in a hard position. Sell the company or run it themselves.
Damn.
My mother-in-law had no clue how to run it, so my wife said she would do it.
Wow. It's interesting that like kind of same
Yeah.
situation with both people. They're like having to like run big things out of the blue.
Yeah. You guys are having to step up. It's weird.
Step up.
After my wife took the company, it did just as well as when her father ran it. Wow.
Okay.
That's really hard to do. Like
yeah,
taking
to
something
come
over,
in
yeah,
and to be able to
and
like
still get
manage
it to function. With that being said, my wife got a huge pay increase, more than me.
Oh.
Brag. I was
Brag's
proud
on
of her. Going from a basic worker to running a whole company isn't easy. Anyway, our daughters started suffering from not seeing their parents. Me and my wife discussed one of us staying home. She said, the company you work for will be fine without you. Mine could go under. I agreed, so I quit my job and became a stay-at-home dad/husband. I do everything. I make sure the girls are taken care of. I cook, clean, fix things, make sure errands are run, you name it. I pamper my wife when she gets home from working. This went well for a while until about a year ago.
Oof. What happened?
My wife was always very appreciative of what I did and loved it. She has become very mean lately. Like just saying things like, do you do anything? Or how about you work for real? What?
Out of the blue?
That's so incredibly rude after they've had a discussion about the roles that they need to play.
Yeah, after he sacrificed his career to support the family
after
and
you
kids.
asked him to sacrifice it. I work my butt every day making sure you don't have to lift a finger when you get home at all. Also, I had a real job, but I quit to raise and take care of the girls, our home, and you. Not to mention, my wife is very schmexual. Always has been. She's quit initiating spicy sleep, and when I ask, she is never in the mood. That was very odd. Eventually, I quit trying. I just thought with all the pandemic crap and everything else, she was just getting very stressed, and it was getting to her. I started trying harder to make her happy. Nothing ever worked.
Something's going on.
Yeah, at this point, if I noticed like the behavior was shifting and there was like a problem, I don't know if OP hasn't said whether or not he did this, but I think you have a conversation. You say, hey,
Yeah.
especially during the pandemic when you're in close quarters and stuff, say like, hey, I'm doing this, this, and this. I just need some support.
Yeah.
And I've noticed that you've been kind of very critical of me, and I think that needs to change. Or something needs to change.
Or it would just be like, hey, I quit my job with your request to support our family, and you were appreciative, and now you're like
Something's
blaming or
changed.
insulting me. Like, what's going? I would like just be curious. Like,
what's going on?
What's going on here?
Mm-hmm. Last weekend, my oldest has a softball game. So I get everything ready and we go. During the game, I wanted to take a video for my mom and dad since they live in another state and don't get to see my daughters that often. I forgot my phone, so I asked my wife if I could see hers. Uh-oh.
What's going to be on it?
She had been attached to it all day, so it would be good for her to get off of it. Anyway, she hands it to me and says she's going to get a drink and a snack. She gets up. I video my daughter when a message comes up on some app. I check.
Oh, no.
And I can't even fathom what I see. My wife and this guy from her work, who is 8 years younger, are spicy texting and sending videos and pics, talking about how great the spicy sleep was, and then me.
And then me?
Ooh, and talking about, he is saying how I am some wimp who can't get a real job taking care of his women.
God.
And my wife agrees with him. How hypocritical. You asked him to quit.
How devastating.
Just devastating.
Just
when
come
you're doing
across that.
so much, you've sacrificed your career to take care of your kids and to take care of your wife.
And she's cheating,
on you. And
then insulting
you for that decision that you guys made together and she asked for you to make. I couldn't believe this crap I saw. I was so devastated and angry all at the same time. I heard my wife coming back, so I closed the app and started videoing. Now, on the ride home, and when we got home, my wife tries to talk to me, and I'm not in the mood. Eventually, we lay in bed, and for the first time, I guess they hadn't met in a while, tried to have spicy sleep. I tell her I'm not in the mood. She says, if you're going to be a bee about everything, you can sleep on the couch.
What? And also,
regardless of whether or not they were going through something, to punish someone for not wanting to sleep with you is disgusting.
Agreed. Also, why the second you're in private not bring this up?
Yeah, I would
bring up that that she's cheating on you.
People process things differently. I got up and went to the couch and have been here since. I don't know how to move forward with this. I really just don't know where to start. My wife was my everything. My girls are my world. And all of that is dying.
Yeah, Sophia Cologne, to make them feel a fake sense of security, that makes sense. Like your world's falling apart and you just don't want to accept it just for a little bit.
Yeah, like just hold off a little bit longer, especially when you have kids. And I don't know how to bring this up. I don't know how to handle this.
It's a lot.
Any advice would be wonderful, as I really effing need it. Edit, should have mentioned I did send screenshots of the conversation to my phone. I do have the evidence.
That's smart.
That's good for divorce.
Let's just go right into the update.
Update. Hi, everyone. I want to thank you all for the advice you gave me. First off, I do have the text, pics, videos, and everything. Second, I don't own any of the company. It's 50-50 between her and my mother-in-law. Third, I can't sleep in the bed. I have been sleeping in the guest bedroom every night, and that is where I'll be staying. To answer, I have decided to divorce her, which, I mean, Anne 13 says first step is getting evidence and talking to an attorney. Really important here because OP is a stay-at-home dad. Doesn't have
an income right now. For sure. Yeah.
Anyway, this morning I called a firm in another town to avoid anyone finding out. Thankfully, they were able to get me in this morning as someone had canceled. After dropping off my girls, I drove over there. To make a long story short, he is a very good lawyer.
Okay.
I showed him what I had. He said that luckily for me, with the evidence I have, she will be pretty much screwed in the divorce. Seeing as I quit my job to raise our girls, she's never home, she's having an affair, and prioritizes this man over me and my girls, she will lose very easily. He basically said we will get child support, alimony, I will keep the house, and she will have to pay for it as long as my girls live there. Also, he stated that we could even try for more money since I'm considered no longer viable in the working world.
Because of his age,
or maybe maybe like the skills that he had are no longer applicable, something like that. To help me pay for more education to get a job. Some of you are right. He said to not work until after the divorce is over. He said you are the husband. If you have a job, you can lose a lot of this. He asked if I wanted full custody. I said that I don't mind my wife seeing her girls on the weekends every once in a while. Yeah, but I would want mostly full custody. He said, since she had an affair in the marital home, I can basically do what I want. Since she started bringing a strange man over to the house, putting the girls in danger, making her guilty. So I will be going for full custody where she can get weekends once, maybe twice a month. No man will be allowed around my girls, and if there are, she could face problems by me if I find out. I just don't want that POS around my girls, which is totally fair.
I don't know, with full custody.
No, I mean, it's totally fair not wanting a stranger was cheating with your wife around your kids.
Sure.
He eventually said to keep quiet until the drafts are ready, and then he'll issue someone to serve her and have it issued that she is required to leave the home. He said he should have it done sometime next week. And there is more to this update.
She wasn't I'm not defending her for the record. Like, she cheated.
Yeah, but I think
that's breaking the family. But she wasn't abandoning the kids. She was
working.
It's a normal family orientation for one person to be at home and for another person to be working. That's not abandoning your kids.
I will say, from what we know, it doesn't seem like she was like a super bad mom. From what we know so far, like a bad partner, absolutely. So that's what they said. So apparently they have some sort of proof that he's been coming over to the house, in which case is pretty not good. He asked me to just keep quiet. He said, I know it's hard and you're upset, but just shut the heck up until everything is done. Once the divorce is over, you can say whatever the heck you want about her, but until then, keep your mouth shut. He said, act as normal. He said, no fights, no issues, sleep in separate bed, and no spicy sleep. I said, no problem, but why? He said, trust me, just don't do it and do as I say. This guy's like, trust me.
Like, this is what you got to do. This, and this.
Don't,
Why do you, how long, I guess you're just like trying to keep the peace until you get some evidence
I think so. Yeah. And so OP can get as much, stuff as possible, I guess. So to blindside them? I don't know. I don't know how divorce proceedings work, really.
Ugh, I hate freaking divorce.
Harriet Spaghetti said,
That was personal.
Yeah. Harriet Spaghetti says, people who bring random adults they are dating around their kids are not responsible parents, shouldn't introduce the kids until it's serious. I do agree with that.
Well, yeah, but it never said that the kids had met the person she was cheating
Just
with.
that they've been in the house.
Yeah.
That's what it seems like.
Yeah.
I just got home and I've started getting ready for dinner and acting and being normal.
Wait. Zura from Missouri says the affair partner shouldn't be an issue in regards to the kids unless he's been proven to be dangerous. I agree. I
think again, I need to know a little bit more about the relation, like if he's being brought around these kids.
Mm-hmm. Like, for example, a mom could bring a friend around the
That's
kids.
True.
People are bringing up, conversations around sexual abuse.
Yeah.
If a parent brings a friend around their kids, and no one's going to be like, how dare you bring a stranger around your kids? It's someone that the parent has a relationship with.
This is true.
And just because it's a relationship where they're breaking their marital relationship,
it's not necessarily putting the kids in danger.
Yeah.
That's why I need to know a little bit more information. I will be acting as if everything is okay until she is served next week. As I can only make 2 updates, yes, I actually read the rules on here. Any more will be on my page if anyone cares. Thank you for the advice and some very harsh words.
Oh.
And to the one guy who asked for my wife's spicy pics, just know.
The internet is crazy.
You guys are weird.
Yeah.
It seems all you have to do is ask her and she'll send them, so it isn't that hard, it appears. Damn. Quick edit. He recommended I get an STD test, plus a DNA test on my girls. Ooh. When I asked why, he said, it is pretty rare in incidents like this where this is the first time this has happened. So yeah, that effing hurt to hear and scared the heck out of me. Let's get into this next update. Hey everyone, I just want to thank you to all who sent me good messages over this period. I have been feeling down and things have been rough. To preface, I have talked to my lawyers about these posts. I didn't go into too much detail. They did tell me though, as long as I could keep them brief and not super specific, then I could post. But I just have to be careful about what I put on to not lead to too many details. That is that. So for a quick update, like it said, it will be brief and not too specific for legal reasons. We will start with the test. I was able to get an STD on myself and a paternity test on my girls. I came out that I thankfully have no diseases and I'm clear. That's good. Since I've been pretty much spicy sleepless from her for the last year, I wasn't all that surprised. Yeah, I was going to say, OP was like, I wasn't sleeping with her at all. And the one time she offered, I said no. So
Yeah.
Now for the one that I'm sure most of you are wondering. The test on my 2 girls. Am I the dad? I will always be their dad regardless of the results. However, I am here to say that yes, I am their biological father.
That was like a Hail Mary of a guess.
It was
it was possible and sure test it, but that was out there.
I have never been so happy to know that I am their dad. Never thought I would have to question it, but here we are. As for what has happened with soon-to-be ex, well, she is out of the house, and I have been granted full temporary custody.
People are saying, I don't know what full custody is. Maybe I don't. What do I not know
From
here?
what my understanding is, full custody means that you're not necessarily seeing them, you're not necessarily not allowing them to see their mom.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that you get to say how much they see the mom.
Okay.
So right
you
now,
are essentially in charge of the time.
Yes, you're doling out the amount of time they see their mom.
Mm-hmm.
So right now he's saying they're only gonna see her weekends once or twice a month. So that's what the full custody means.
Got it. Still disagree, but.
So for now, she's out of the house. My lawyer set everything up for me to get my girls and make sure that we legally handled her being removed from the home. It wasn't pretty, but details for another time. She was served at work, and from what I know, it wasn't pretty. Like I said, though, details for another time. My girls know what's going on. My oldest knows we're separating, and one of her friend's parents split for the same reason. She has seen what happened with her friend and doesn't want us to split. She's been crying for me to let mommy come home. Oh, I will be getting them in with a child therapist to explain and help them understand from the direction of my lawyer. My youngest just wants mommy to come home and misses her. It kills me and makes me feel like a terrible father, and they probably hate me now. Sometimes I think I should just let their mother cheat on me to keep the family unit to make my girls happy.
That is not a good decision.
That's I just can't do that. Sometimes I think about talking about allowing an open relationship and we can just wait till the girls are older, but that won't work for me.
No.
These are bad.
No.
Plus, I know the girls will pick up on it and will not like it that mommy and daddy don't love each other. As for my ex, she is living with her mother at this point. My mother-in-law has called me and asked to meet. I agreed, and we will meet at some point. She didn't ask for details, as she said we will talk later, but begged me not to take her granddaughters away from her. I said, you are a great and loving grandmother, and as long as you can separate my girls from what is going on between your daughter and I see no issue with you being able to see them, and I will not take them out of your life. She thanked me, and that is it. My ex has been trying to call me and text me trying to figure us out. Under direction of my lawyer, he has had it set up so that I can talk to her through a trackable method, and it is purely about the girls. No more, no less. So that is it for now. We'll probably keep updating, and once this is all over, we'll make one big update for all the details I have to be careful about as of now. And there is an update. Hey everyone, I thought I would give everyone a small update on some stuff that has happened. So first off, I had Thanksgiving with my soon-to-be ex and mother-in-law. Okay. I did this purely for the girls and made sure with my lawyer this was only about the girls and not about reconciliation. That was taken care of. First, I met with my mother-in-law pre-Thanksgiving. We met and had a pretty mutual discussion, mainly just things about how we will handle my daughters after. My mother-in-law did tell me some stuff about my soon-to-be ex. I guess my soon-to-be ex was cheated on by her high school boyfriend. What?
How is that relevant?
She was like, oh, she was cheated on.
Yeah, so it's
this
fine.
Is why, so she had to cheat on you.
Uh-huh.
Didn't even know she dated anyone. I guess this guy comes from one of those families, according to my mother-in-law, and they told her to avoid him. Well, I guess one night she caught him with his head under another girl's dress and tongue deep in a girl's jewelry box. Damn.
Jeez.
This is why my mother-in-law couldn't believe she would do this.
Oh, so it's more just like shock.
Yeah, like she went through this. Why would she do this to someone else? She had a couple boyfriends in college, but she knew they wouldn't last. She said that as soon as she met me, she found her son-in-law. Says she is so sorry for her daughter's actions and will make sure that she doesn't try to do anything problematic with the divorce. Anyway, a couple days before Thanksgiving, my mother-in-law asked for me to come over for dinner with the girls. I said, will she be there? She said yes. I said I can't be with her there. She said she understands, but asked if we could put on the holiday one more time for the girls. She said, I know you have a lawyer. Ask them, and if they say it's a bad idea, I get it. I did, and they said, tell your wife via the app this is purely for the girls to avoid any confusion. So I did. She had contacted me before about coming over. She's been begging me to see me and the girls. The girls have been begging me to see their mom. I swallowed my pride for my girls, and we went. It was awkward. My soon-to-be ex gave our daughters a hug. Fine. Then tried to hug and kiss me. No. No. Get out of here, you weirdo.
Yeah, nah.
I just avoided her and went to give my mother-in-law a hug. My soon-to-be ex tried to act like husband and wife and was trying to talk to me. I answered with yes and no's and helped my mother-in-law finish dinner and clean up. My mother-in-law is religious and wanted to do a prayer, and my soon-to-be ex sat next to me. I held my daughter's hand and my wife tried to grab mine. I pulled away. I know it may seem petty, but I don't want her touching me. I'm an atheist, but out of respect for my mother-in-law, I go along with it. Dinner was fine. Again, soon-to-be ex trying to act like we're going to be married and asking about Christmas and vacations. I guess she wants to take with us as a family. When she mentioned this stuff, I knew going over was a mistake. We finished dinner, and I pretty much got up, cleaned my daughters and I dishes, then was ready to go. My daughters wanted to watch a movie with their mother that we always watch. I let them, and my soon-to-be ex tried to cuddle next to me on the couch. I sat in the chair after that. This is really annoying.
Yeah.
Because he is trying.
He didn't even want to go to this.
Yeah.
And then she's like giving him affection.
I hate that. My mother-in-law was very mad at my soon-to-be ex the whole night for how she acted. I could tell by the look she gave her. Movie ended, and we started to leave. My daughters fell asleep, so I carried them to the car. Went in to grab something, and my soon-to-be ex grabbed me in tears, begging to work on things, and that she wants to be a family and is so sorry for what happened. Before I could say anything, my mother-in-law grabbed her by the hair, not joking,
God.
yanking her, told me goodnight, and began yelling at her daughter.
Damn. Yeah, she was fed up the whole night.
Like, shut up.
What is she doing?
So yeah, told my lawyer everything and said nothing indicated reconciliation, and you made that clear in your messages. You're fine. Wife once again called and begged to work on us. She gets left on red. I will only talk about the girls, and I'm sure they're going to want to do the same for Christmas. I don't know if I can or if it's okay. Once again, I will discuss it with my lawyer. And you can discuss all sorts of things with us by joining us live every weekday at 3 p.m. PST on YouTube. Just tap our profile. And there is one final update, but I do really feel for OP in this situation of like having to deal with your ex for the kids, but just also having to deal with someone who's hurt you so much and who continues to hurt you. This will not be long, but things have gotten very bad for my girls. No. Basically, my girls had 2 sessions this week with their therapist. The first one was good. My girls came out what seemed to be more peaceful and calmer than usual. I talked to the therapist after, and she seemed to be very good and understood my girls well. So I took them to their second one, and everything is completely effed.
No.
Basically, the therapist explained in age-appropriate terms that the reason me and their mother are separating is that their mother cheated, had an affair, and betrayed me. I knew eventually she would, but I didn't think it would happen this soon. Why would you not talk to the parents and say, hey, we're bringing this up?
That is
insane.
That is so inappropriate as a therapist
inappropriate.
to disclose that information to your kids, to the kids.
Well, it seems like OP was like, oh, I knew it was happening, but they never told him. Like, that's like a thing you say, hey, this is happening today.
Or it's a thing of like,
well, how do you want me to tell them?
Have you? Or it's not even the
therapist
I feel place like
to
tell the
kids.
That you tell
it's
the parents' job to tell their kids.
Oh my God.
And if the therapist was going to do that, it's like
huge
by request of the parents,
yes.
And it's not on
Both
like their
parents.
own discord of like
No.
like, oh, I'm just gonna tell them.
Absolutely, this is crazy.
Yeah.
That is a huge overstep. I went to get my girls, and basically it was a burst of tears and them climbing all over me and giving me hugs, crying, saying they love me. I'm happy they love me, but this is not what I wanted to happen with my girls. I asked the therapist why she told them. She said the girls knew you two are separating, and the girls noticed you seemed to be really mean and unloving with their mother. Your girls aren't stupid, she told me. They know how you are, and they know how you treat their mom.
That's something
They
you
wanted
taught.
to know why you're separating. That's not your place.
That's not your
That's
place.
not your freaking place.
That's what you talk to him about, and you
Yeah.
tell him that.
Hey, how, like, you know,
Like-
I've noticed that they've been thinking about this.
And
You should consider
they
maybe
see
talking to
you
them.
treating their mom in a certain way, and they have questions about it.
Literally never go back to that therapist again.
Yeah.
They wanted to know why you're separating. I tried to walk around it the best I could, she said. But the girls are not going to progress in therapy if we don't tell them.
That's not your decision.
Literally not.
I'm
your
just-
decision.
oh my God.
I'm not going to go into detail on what exactly she said to them, but it was age appropriate. But they know the age appropriate version of their mom being unfaithful. I think my oldest could maybe handle this and be okay, but not my youngest. So we get home and my girls won't let go of me. They're literally crying the whole night. So I ordered food, put in their favorite movies in my bedroom, and we laid there all night. Ugh. They fell asleep and I went to the bathroom and just cried. Also, just imagining this as like an adult, remembering this as like this childhood moment where your therapist told you that your parents were cheated.
Yeah.
That would be such a wild moment.
Ugh.
Be like, what?
Yeah.
That happened? They fell asleep and I went to the bathroom and just cried.
Ugh.
My soon-to-be ex doesn't even realize the pain she's causing her girls. I don't know how I'm going to deal with this. The therapist told me we could try medication for a bit till they get used to the new normal. Okay, I'm not a therapist.
You go to a different therapist.
I feel like we should maybe go to the different therapist. I refused to do so, which she supported and said it was just an option. And I'm not drugging them. Disclaimer, she cannot give the drugs. She said they would need to see their primary and they would probably diagnose my girls with something that would allow them to medicate them.
You know,
They just found out that their parents are cheating and they were like, oh, crying and stuff. And she's like, you should drug them.
yeah, you don't medicate people for going through hardship in life.
What? What?
That's not the first response to
What?
hardship, is to medicate.
There is such a huge difference between being sad about something that's just happened and going through like a depressive episode. Those are like so different.
Hardship is a part of life.
You don't just medicate for hardship, purely for hardship. I'm not saying that you don't medicate for other reasons, but what?
This whole story is
This is
making me
crazy.
so upset.
Oh my God. This therapist, never go back to this therapist ever again.
There's so many, like, therapy, wonderful, but there are so many freaking bad therapists out there. It's crazy.
I won't have to worry about Christmas as my daughters hate their mother now. Because of this freaking therapist. I hate this therapist.
Yeah.
How do I know? My oldest says she never wants to see her mom again. I hate that. Literally, the service that sucks.
I mean, that's kind of probably would have been her reaction in finding out in any
Absolutely.
case.
But like totally different. I don't know. There's just so many better ways where
Of
both
course.
parents could have been involved.
For sure. And to
Talk
share
to-
it in a way that's just not dropping a bomb from a stranger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, like, these kids are valid in their emotions. If they don't want to see their parents, right? Like, their mom, that's fair. But, like, could have been
Yeah. And
told much better. My oldest said she never wants to see her mom again. My youngest follows what her older sister says, even though she may actually agree. I was shocked. I said, you don't hate her. You may be mad, but you don't hate her. She loves and cares about you. My oldest just said, no, she doesn't. And then just cried in my arms until she fell asleep. So did my youngest. So this is my life now. And that is the end of that story.
that one took a toll on me.
Ouchie. Ouch, ouch. That was ouch. That was an ouch one.
I need a breather. What the kids are saying now is, not representative of,
No.
after
This is finding out something
things
really big.
come to some new normal and after
Mhm.
things settle in some way. It's not indicative of, how they're going to proceed, or if they, when they grow up, of like how they're going to go about it.
I think most kids react. I mean,
Yeah,
from
I
the
think
stories that
most
we
people
read,
would
most kids
react
this
to
way.
this way and
Yeah.
to like say big things, but
I banned my brother's cheating girlfriend. Years later, she's still playing victim.
don't you try to play the victim.
My 31 female sister-in-law, 34 female, has been a thorn in my side for almost 2 decades. When I first met her in my middle school years, I idolized her for being older and cooler. Except when I met her, she wasn't dating my brother, 33 male. She was dating his best friend. By the way, this comes from user DepthNational5315. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. So, my brother and I have always been extremely close and share a friend group, so I was often with some of his friends. D also started coming around frequently. Not too long later, D had caused some chaos within the friend group, cheating on her boyfriend with my brother, cheating on my brother with his best friend, and slowly making her way around the rest of his friends, spare one.
Oh, spare that one. Spare them.
Only one was spared from the wrath of D. As you can probably guess, my adoration for her quickly dissipated. Her true colors continued to show more and more. D has no filter and says very rude and inappropriate things to myself, my family, and our friends constantly. Most friends actually distanced themselves from my brother because of her. She became more insufferable as time went on. This caused my brother to get booted out of the house that he was renting with his friends. They ended up getting an apartment together, and by they, I just mean my brother. D didn't work, doesn't drive or know how, and just went to school. My brother had to rearrange his work schedule to drive her to and from classes, pay for the apartment and everything that comes with it, and had to cook and clean because with school she was too busy. It was hard to watch and even harder to be around. Oof, God, you hate a relationship like that. She had rules, like not being able to get a glass of water if we came over because we didn't pay rent there, and would scold my brother if he did so anyway.
What?
No water?
No water.
No water.
Imagine if, like, every time someone came over to our house, we were like, no water.
She would also make very rude and snide remarks anytime she was around anyone, saying things to me specifically like, you probably shouldn't have kids or you might pass down a lazy eye. My eyes are perfectly fine, by the way. Or, I think your mom could have mistreated you more, to be honest.
I think you could shut up.
Who is this
I
lady?
think you could shut up. Shut your face hole.
Stinky. You're so ugly on the inside. I can't imagine
like a troll.
the
on
rot
inside.
within you. She also told my baby cousin, who was struggling with an eating disorder, that she should quit after high school so she doesn't lose her prime years of being skinny. Needless to say, I was less than a fan of her.
Yeah.
Not too long later, I got a call from my brother, who was beside himself because he walked in on her cheating on him. I was relieved, to be honest, but I listened and reassured him that he didn't deserve any of it. He was heartbroken for months, but during that time, we got closer than before, and his friends started coming around again. Months later, they reconnected. I was close enough with my brother to let him know that I don't condone cheating or the hurt she put him through, and I don't think it's a very smart idea. I told him I'd support him no matter what, but I didn't want to be around her. I reminded him that it wasn't the first time she'd done it either, seeing as that's how they had gotten together in the first place. You gain it, you lose him how you got
Yeah,
him.
your brother also sucks, man.
You
Little
lose him
cheater.
how you got him. He reassured me he would be fine. Conspiracy theory.
He's not fine.
He's not
fine.
fine. Weeks went by and my parents were out of town. I lived with my dad and stepmom at the time, and my brother asked if he could come stay at my dad's while they were gone to get some peace from his roommates. I agreed, but didn't realize he would bring her. I immediately and immaturely confronted her and yelled at her to get off my property and that she would not be staying there. Things escalated physically and they ended up leaving. Fast forward to now. I live out of state and come home for holidays. This was my first Christmas home with my fiance. Though he's been home with me before, this year was special to me because Christmas is my favorite time of the year. It has nothing to do with gifts, but everything to do with my very big, very loving family. Every year we go to my dad's for Christmas Eve, open presents with our immediate family, and then head to our cousins to eat, drink, play games, and spend time together. And be merry. Yeah, we've got another person here who enjoys Christmas time.
Me too.
Christmas time is here. Sophia loves the cheer. This year, I was kid-free. My kiddos were with their dad, my ex-husband. Even without kids, it's a lot to plan and execute a trip because I normally only get to stay for a day or two after factoring in travel time and my work schedule. I forgot my niece's presents back home. I asked my brother if he could resend me her list so I could run to Target, buy her gifts to open, and mail the rest. They ended up having the exact same gifts except one, so I got everything, wrapped them up, and headed to my dad's. I was greeted by my younger brother, 25 male. My dad and stepmom and my older brother and niece showed up right after me. Dee was nowhere to be found, and my brother explained that her parents were in town and staying at their house, so she stayed behind to entertain them. My family is very welcoming and wouldn't have minded having them, but her family is not. Shocking that her family sucks and your family
also
rocks.
sucks.
At my brother and sister-in-law's wedding, her family set up 2 tables to split the families, then had my brother and Dee sit with her family in seats that made their backs face my family. They did not speak to us the entire reception. Whack. We opened gifts, and my niece was glued to me, which was great because I don't see her often and was missing my kids. We enjoyed the rest of the night and our trip. 6 days later, I received a text from my older brother stating that I was the reason Dee didn't come to Christmas. Oh, boo frickin' who. That I offended her and they no longer wanted to be around my children or have me around theirs.
Well, I don't want to be around D, so.
Yeah, shut up, Dee.
Now you're getting on the.
Shut up, Dee.
Yeah, literally, shut up, D.
Shut up, D.
Just say, shut up, D. Yeah, see, now you're Always Sunny's fan.
I was very confused because I honestly don't care to talk to Dee at all, let alone converse about her. He explained that my little brother's girlfriend, Laura, who I'm very close with, brought up the story of our altercation, and Dee was embarrassed and upset. I called Laura and she explained that Dee was actually talking negatively about me to her. Laura simply agreed that she knew we weren't very friendly and explained she knew about the altercation, clarifying that my little brother was actually the one who told her. I called my brother and explained that I was not the one who brought this up to Laura. I also didn't appreciate that Dee was speaking negatively about me and was now upset because she didn't like something that was said about her. The difference was that she was talking about me in the present, while our situation happened in the past, something my brother and I had already hashed out years ago. I told him I didn't understand why Dee couldn't just talk to me herself. We are grown adults. We have each other's contact numbers, and we have been pretty cordial for years now. I let him know I would apologize, but I wasn't going to do that through a middleman. Right, because we're adults, not 12-year-olds in our first year of middle school. Like, speak to each other like adults.
Use your big boy pants.
A week went by and Dee never contacted me. I did send her a text stating that I'd love to talk things out, but would prefer not to do it over text because it's very impersonal. I told her if she wanted to wait until I was back in town at the end of the month, she could, or she could call me. I got no response. And really, can I just say, like, why is her brother staying with her?
I don't know. She
Like-
seems like she's just the worst.
Oh, they have kids.
Yeah, that's why.
Now, it's February, and I get a call from another family member who had recently flown to our home state to visit. She informed me that Dee and my brother could do nothing but talk about me, my family, and my children, and how horrible I was. My family is not very fond of her and shut it down immediately. At this point, I reached out again, reiterating that I think this is a personal matter between her and I'd appreciate it if she would talk to me instead of everyone else. I get a response 2 days later with paragraphs upon paragraphs. The first paragraphs stated how she will not bite her tongue at the disrespect and that she knows I was just hoping she would get over it because I haven't reached out to her. She literally reached out to you, numbskull. What are we talking about? Are you a
Use your
dunce?
brain.
What are we
Do you
doing?
have a little dunce cap? Silly.
Are you late for your party at the Dunce Hat Factory?
Ooh,
Where you're
burn.
the number one customer, constantly buying
Is the
one every
dunce-
day?
Is the dunce hat factory on fire? Because you just got burned.
I just went to the Dunce Hat Factory and everyone there knew you.
Ooh.
The second paragraph tells me how immature I am and how tough I must feel. That even back then, I wasn't protecting my brother from her, and that I created the cheating narrative in my head and must be projecting. Otherwise, how did my marriage fail? He was That's how. She said after finding out that I'm pregnant with a daughter, she hopes for her sake I don't go through with it because I'll end up abused like my mother, which again, I have 3 perfectly healthy, happy children that I've raised pretty much on my own. And finally, she said I'm a pathological liar because I never sent my nieces Christmas presents, which again, if you missed it, she opened the same exact ones on Christmas Eve, which she would have known had she been there. And I hadn't sent the other one that the store didn't have because I had received the text from my brother cutting me off from my niece. But also that I'm trying to manipulate her through her daughter because I bought the most expensive gifts on her Christmas list registry, which I do because they have one child and have to buy for my 3. So it only seemed fair to spend a decent amount.
So she is giving gifts.
This person's trash and your brother's a fool.
Yeah.
And I would just wait for the niece to get to the age where she has autonomy, and then you can establish a relationship with her.
You don't have to deal with this terrible, terrible D character.
Yeah.
D-list
Shut
character.
up, D. By the way, if you want us to shut up, too bad. Because
freaking bad.
we have full episodes with stories just like this, and we talk all about it on iHeartRadio, on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen. Just search OK Storytime, the name of this show. And there you will find 50 consecutive days. That is 24 hours times 50. That's how many hours worth of stories we have for you to peruse. So, chop, chop. You've got a lot of catching up to do. We do have a little bit more story.
Let's go into it.
Let's just finish her off. At that point, my gloves came off. I did tell her I will not be responding to half of those comments. I told her that the word immature being thrown around so ironically here, since she is in her mid-30s and can't have a conversation with me about something that's been upsetting her from 12 years ago.
Yep.
I let her know that I respect how supportive my brother is of his wife, but I do not care for her, and only apologized out of my love for him. I also let her know that it will be a blessing if she uses me as an excuse not to come to family functions anymore, because it won't bother me either way. I'll always be welcomed because it is my family. And lastly, I listed all the friends and family that she has pissed off and why, and assured her 99% of them would agree that out of the two of us, I'm not the problem.
I think they would agree. You're probably going to get an award for making sure she doesn't come back.
Slam dunk. You said, by the way, whole family would agree with me too. Boom.
Come on.
Shut
You
up.
too, man.
And welcome to the gym.
But that is the end of that story.
That is the end of that story.
I'm an affair baby, and my fiance's mom hates me for it. You're hating on a baby? Hating on a baby? Weird. You got a grudge on a baby? This is my first and probably only post, barring an update. So basically, I am the child of an affair. My mom fell in love with and got knocked up with me by a guy who was already married. By the way, this comes from Deleted, and if you want to submit your own story to r/OKStorytime subreddit, come on. My dad would periodically visit my mom and me until I was about 4, which is when his wife found out about my mom. We never saw him again. Once in a while, I think he sent some child support checks, but I'm not sure. I barely remember him since I was really young when he left me and my mom, and he never visited much. While I was awake or around, anyway. I don't think he really was interested in me, just my mom. My mom had 2 jobs to support us, one at a fast food joint during the day, and the other at a spicy club, which I didn't find out about until I was 16. She lied and told me that she had another job at another restaurant. I'm fairly certain my mother was also a spicy sleep worker on the side, but I've never confirmed, and frankly, I don't want to know. She had frequent boyfriends, which she would mooch off of until she got tired of their crap or they got tired of hers. Anyway, fast forward to present day. I am engaged to the most wonderful man in the world after dating for 4 years and planning a wedding about 8 months from now. Congratulations. So exciting. My mother still works as a spicy dancer and lives with her current boyfriend, who is honestly a sweet guy, but is also a disappearing act and a heavy drinker. My fiance's mother is not too wonderful. She found out, of course, about me and my mom's background and present occupation, and she hates both of us. She's telling Mike, my fiance, not to marry me because I'm the product of adultery and I grew up in a home where cheating is viewed as acceptable and permissible, and therefore I will most likely cheat on Mike and he will have to get a paternity test on any children I have so he's not stuck with some other man's baby. She called my mom a harlot and a salute and no good man stealing trash. Mike's mother has been married twice, and both of her husbands cheated on her, the first one with the spicy dancer, so I can sort of understand why Mike's mom is kind of paranoid and doesn't look with fondness on me or my mom. Mike is upset with the way that his mom talks to and about me and my mom, but doesn't know what to do. It's his mom and he loves her, and up till now they had a really good relationship, but she doesn't understand why her son, who could have a good girl, would settle for someone like me. How? For the record, I graduated with honors, have a great job, supported myself, and have never cheated on Mike or the other boyfriends I've had. I loathe cheating and do not think it's okay at all. As for my mom, she was of course deeply hurt by what my
future mother-in-law said, I'll be the first to admit that what my mom did and has done in the past is not okay. But I don't hate my mom. She's just a very silly and immature woman who is lacking in common sense, but is not malicious in any way. She's actually very sweet and giving most of the time. But she has terrible taste in men and has made a lot of poor life decisions. She says that she knows her affair with my dad was wrong, but loves love, and she couldn't help who she loved. She still views my dad as the one who got away and the love of her life. I think he's the only man she's ever really loved. I remember after my dad disappeared, her crying her eyes out every night for months and drinking herself into a stupor. Obviously, she's delusional and has never really learned from her mistakes. She lacks basic life skills and has always relied on her looks. She's a very, very beautiful woman and relying on her charm to get by. But I know that she did her best to be a parent to me, and I know she loves me. Is it too much for me to ask my future mother-in-law to treat my mother with respect? Or for me for that matter? No, not at all. I'm not sure what I can ask of Mike, who feels caught in the middle and isn't sure what to do. He's never had a serious argument or been truly angry with his mother before. He hates what she says, but it's clearly messing with his head because his mom has never been wrong, which he knows she is now.
I mean, I get it. She's your mom.
Yeah.
But you need to put up those boundaries and say, hey, this is my partner, and you can't talk about her that way. Or her mom, for that matter.
Right. Not to have, like, your different opinions. What can I ask? And what should I ask of my fiance? And how should I respond to Mike's mom? I want to just cut her out of my life, but I'm not sure that's fair to ask. I want him to be happy, too. I have a short temper, though, and it takes everything inside me not to explode at his mom and just verbally rip her to shreds, especially when she said those things to my mom's face. Yikes. Yeah, that would be hard. Some quick comments are, your fiance needs to be the one who responds, not you. He needs to make it clear that to her that an attack on you is an attack on him, that the two of you are one united force now, and the things she's saying are. If he doesn't do this, you really must not marry him, because it won't get better, and she'll eventually do everything she can to pry your children. Someone responds, can you imagine the nasty things she'll tell to her own grandkids? OP responds, I know. It's just hard because he's never really been a mama's boy before, but is kind of acting like it now. I know he's torn because they are very close, and it's for him that someone he loves and respects so much is bashing on the person he loves the most. It's hard for him to reconcile the two in his mind, but he knows that I cannot and will not marry him if he doesn't do something about this soon. I won't be with a coward who just chooses his mom over me. I'm just not sure how much is fair to ask. I just need him to do something. And we do have an update.
We're about to find out if he does something.
About to find out, but of course, put your answers in the chat. What would you do? How would you phrase these things? How far would you go? But there is an update, so let's get into it. I want to thank everyone who took the time to comment, even the haters and just generally overall rude and tacky people. Most of you were kind and supportive and helped me think the whole thing through. I really didn't appreciate all the nasty comments directed at my mother. She's really a kind and sweet woman who I dearly love, who has made a few bad choices in life and is too immature and emotionally damaged to see it. At least she didn't abandon me like my dad did. That was also the first and only married man she has ever had any kind of relationship with. However, I know that this is Reddit, and a subset of this community just loves any opportunity to judge and bash women for any mistake and think that they deserve eternal damnation. I guess it was to be expected. Also clarifying, Mike's dad was actually my future mother-in-law's second husband. Her first husband cheated on her with a spicy dancer, but that is not Mike's dad. Mike's dad also cheated, but it wasn't with a spicy sleepwalker. It was a mutual friend or coworker or something like that. Not sure on the details.
OP is at fault for her mom's behavior when her
Right.
son is not at fault for his dad's behavior.
Yeah, I didn't even think about it that way because a part of me was like, oh, but I mean, he's not like an affair baby. But I mean, at the same time, like he does still have a parent that did cheat.
I don't know.
That
A little
is
bit weird.
wild.
It was already weird, but a little
Yeah.
bit more weird.
That's a great point. Mike is no contact with his father and does not like to talk about him, so I don't ask. Anyways, on to the actual update. I actually showed Mike the post. He was quiet but kind, asked me to let him think on it, and then cooked me my favorite dinner and drew me a bath with scented oil and candles. About a day after I posted, Mike asked me to sit and talk with him. He started off the bat by sincerely apologizing. He said the things his mother said to me and my mom were so awful and brazen that he was taken aback and froze up in response. He said that yes, his mom has made the odd snippy comment about me or my mom, but he's been good about deflecting the comment and changing the subject. He just never expected an explosion of that magnitude. He then apologized for not addressing his mother sooner, but it's been so hard for him to wrap his mind around it. That he deeply loves and respects his mother, and it has been so hard to think about the implications of her actions and what it can mean for his relationship with her. However, his life is with me now, and that if he thinks he's grown up enough to get married, he needs to put me first, regardless of his mother.
Exactly.
I will say I can understand why Mike is so close with his mom. I'll be the first to say that I do not like my future mother-in-law, but she has many admirable qualities about her. She's very tough and ambitious and strove to make Mike have a happy and successful life despite 2 failed marriages and being a single mom. She is quite successful career-wise. She's just too closed-minded and controlling for me to ever like her.
Yeah.
Anywho, Mike said that none of what his mom said affected his view on me, that I'm amazing and beautiful and just perfect, and he doesn't care what my background is. He's still marrying me, and that will make him the happiest man on the planet. Aw, that's cute. Mike asked me to sit right there on the sofa. He then got his phone and called his mother. I'll relay the main conversation. Mike. Mom, hi. I'm calling because there's something I need to talk to you about. It's about what you've been saying about my fiance and my future mother-in-law and what you said to their faces. Future mother-in-law starts to argue. Mike, no. Stop right now. I'm not going to listen to this BS anymore. Look, I know how much Tom and Dad hurt you, and I'm sorry about that. I really am, but taking it out on OP and her mom won't fix it or make it better. Jezebel, my mother, isn't the one who cheated on you, and OP didn't exactly choose to be born into the life she's had. Don't you think if she had a choice, she'd have done different? Future mother-in-law starts to argue and yell, Mike, Mom, shut up and listen.
Dang.
Shut up and listen.
Dang.
Wow, not pulling any punches.
Mm-mm.
Future mother-in-law, silence. Mike's never talked that way to her ever. Mike, OP is more than good enough for me. She's smart, successful, witty, ambitious, and beautiful. She has a good heart and is going to do amazing things. She's all this in spite of her past. And you know what, Mom? If you think she'll cheat on me because of her parents' relationship, then I guess I'm bound to cheat on her too. Exactly what you're saying. Because my dad was a cheat and my mom had the bad judgment to marry 2 cheaters in a row. Boom!
Shots fired.
All right. Future mother-in-law, what? But there were consequences. You weren't born from it. And I got them both out of my life. I never said it was okay. It's different. You saw how it was bad to cheat. She was raised thinking it's okay. Ugh. Mike said she sounded really shaken. Mike and OP didn't have consequences because her dad cheated. He abandoned her. Because of infidelity, she had to grow up without a father. Do you think OP wanted that? I love all that he is saying right now.
He's popping off.
He for real is. Future mother-in-law, silence. Starts to speak. Mike, no. This conversation is finished. If you still want a place at the wedding, you will drop this topic today, immediately, forever.
Heck yeah.
You don't have to love OP or her mother. You don't even have to like them. But you will treat both of them with respect. If you don't, you won't have a place in my life or the lives of any kids OP and I have. OP is my friend and partner, and she will be my wife. Anything said against her is also said against me. And I won't have someone around who is disrespectful and cruel for no reason to me and her. Her mom is going to be my mom. I plan on calling Jezebel Mom because that's what she will be. Future mother-in-law, silence, starts crying. My mother-in-law never cries. Mike, you owe OP an apology. You also owe her mother one, but I can't control that. But I can control what happens in my house. I will not talk to you until you have apologized to OP and are ready to be civil to her and her mother. Hangs up. Wow.
Dang,
Wow.
man. Dang.
That's
Wow.
crazy.
He popped off.
He popped off.
And this is what we wanted.
That's
At
exactly
the end of
what
the
we
day, this
wanted.
is exactly what we wanted. We just wanted to
Yes.
stand up for his partner, and then he did.
This strongest spine I've ever seen.
Strong spine.
The spine
Spine
is-
of steel.
Spine of steel.
That's
exactly.
a Wolverine spine right there.
Yeah. OP says, I was and still am speechless. My fiance is the kindest person in the world, but he stood up for me and my mother without backing down. Oh, and it doesn't stop there. Mike then called my mom and apologized for his mother's behavior and said that he had talked to her and it shouldn't happen again, but if it does, to please not hesitate to tell him. He also asked if he could start calling her mom, and my mom said, of course. I know this meant the world to her. He also sent her a big bouquet of flowers to her for her birthday, which she should be getting sometime today or tomorrow. My mom texted me later saying that she wished she could have been loved like I am at any point in her life and to please not take what I have for granted. Wow. She said she is so happy for me and thinks that Mike is the most wonderful guy in the world. I got all choked up and texted her back a thank you and that I thought so. Still haven't heard from future mother-in-law, but neither of us expect to for a while. She hasn't communicated with Mike at all either, which tells us that she took what he said very hard. It'll probably take a while for her to recover from it. My guess is that she'll probably feel like I stole her son from her and have corrupted him, but I guess that's what happens when you marry a conniving sin spawn. I really don't care, and it isn't my problem. As long as she keeps her opinions about me and my mom to herself, I'll tolerate her for Mike's sake and any future kids we have. I know for a fact that if she steps out of line, Mike won't have any qualms about cutting her out, so I'm not worried about it. Anyways, thanks again, Reddit. I wanted to share my happy update with you since most of y'all were so good to me. Now, getting ready to have lunch with Mike and start planning our wedding. Bless his heart.
Yay!
How sweet. How sweet. But you know what I want to share?
What?
I want to share the fact that we have more episodes
Oh my God.
with full stories, just like
way.
this one. Just like this one. Can you believe it?
I can't.
Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app and search OK Storytime.
Just do it.
We got you. We got you. But there is a little edit here. Edit. All right. Taking this post down and getting real tired of all the PMs and posts. My first one I had a bunch of misogynists. This time I've gotten people saying it's fake.
No.
Haters gonna hate. Sorry my writing isn't good enough. I don't know what you all want. Thank you for those who have been supportive and helpful. I'm happy to be with Mike and planning my wedding and don't need any more negativity than already exists. Congrats. You got your wish. I'm signing off forever and there will be no post-wedding update because I'm sick of all the a-holes on here being absolute wieners to me and my mother and saying Mike is a figment of my imagination because he's too good to be real. Ciao.
But you know what? Kind of a compliment. Kind of
Yeah,
a win.
right?
He's too good.
He's
Like,
too
okay,
good,
thank you.
man. And sometimes if people think it's fake, it's because your writing is too
Yeah.
So don't think it's because it's bad. There is a quick comment too. I'm so happy you guys are a team for this problem, but a future mother-in-law is isolated in her immediate familiar group. Might want to send someone to check up on her. Holidays are coming up and she might be low and bitter. She might react irrational and harm herself, but use caution. Mike checking in himself would counteract the boundaries he's trying. OP responds, yeah, no. She has 2 other kids, Mike's younger brother and sister, that live within a 10 to 15 minute driving distance of her. She'll be fine. We live a plane ride away, but Mike is her favorite, so she's going to be extra hurt and pouty about the whole thing. She's probably hoping the silent treatment breaks Mike and he comes crawling back, which is definitely not happening. There will be no contact from either of us until I get an apology. Wow, that had a good ending.
It did. It was a beautiful story.
Yeah.
Everyone's happy, except for the mother-in-law.
Yeah, except for the mother-in-law. It was a bit of a rocky road, but we
Yeah.
got there in the end.
Mhm.
So congratulations, Sophie.
My ex-husband's Valentine's gift for his affair partner was delivered to my house. I threw it away.
Was it nice though?
I hope so.
Okay.
I hope
Was
you
it lingerie?
threw a diamond necklace into the trash.
I would have just kept it.
My ex-husband, 34 male, and I, 38 female, have been separated for a year, and the divorce was final last year. About 3 years prior, I caught him in an affair in which he cried and promised things would change and he would never do it again. I was stupid, believed him, and stayed. By the way, this comes from Lived, Laughed, Love, Lie. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to r/OKStorytime subreddit. So, after countless infidelities, I finally found enough sense and respect for myself to leave the relationship. This man gaslit me to the nth degree about his affairs, to the point where he said I needed therapy for the marriage to continue for my false assumptions and questioning his trust. In fact, solid proof of his multiple affairs were found days after the last "you need therapy for not trusting me" speech. This was the same day I asked for a divorce. As you can imagine, this has been a lot to deal with, and having to keep in contact with him to complete divorce proceedings and removing his name from my house was painful. Fast forward 1 year to today, he has not lived here for a year. This is all the relevant information about this is my house. His name is not on it in any way. I still get mail for him here, in which I have constantly and kindly asked him via text to change his address, for which he says he did, and he'll double check every time. This mail includes things like insurance cards for his new affair baby. Just last week, he picked up the last of his belongings and important mail, which I've held for months waiting for him to pick up. Celebrated this would be the last time I would ever need to contact or see him again. Yesterday, I received a package, and without thinking, I opened it on my way into the door, thinking it was one of my many Amazon buys. LOL, well, it's a jewelry box with 2 rather cheap-looking necklaces inside, something I didn't
You
order.
kind of got it right in the beginning. You did say diamond necklaces.
It was a
yeah. They were
dude,
necklaces.
cheap
Faux
necklaces.
diamond.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
kind of, I don't know, kind of crazy that he's just getting her like necklaces off of Amazon. I double check the shipping label, and it's my ex-husband's name. This is clearly a Valentine's present for the new girl, as the rhinestones are green, which I immediately recognized as her month's birthstone. How did you
Yeah, how do you
how
know
did
that?
you know that?
Dude,
What?
she went deep down that stocking
Yeah,
train.
she was like, "Who is this girl?
Yeah.
When's her birthday?
What's her sign?
What's her sign?" Exactly.
Her moon
Emerald.
rising.
He's never ordered from this company when we were together, so I would have understood if he had an existing account which had the old address, but I don't see that as the case. At this point, I feel this is almost intentional. How many times can one put the wrong address on your things? This man is very much but even I don't know if he would go that far or if he's just that stupid. Would I be the a-hole for throwing away the whole package in the trash? I looked it up and it was under $80 and not fine jewelry by any means. Also, I really want to go no contact moving forward, so I would rather not text him if it can be avoided. I would be lying if I said I didn't still harbor resentment and hate, but I feel guilty not giving someone something they paid for.
Mm.
And there are some comments, and I presume an update. I don't know if you'll have this take.
Okay. Pop off.
I think you should throw him out.
I assume that would be your take.
I think you should throw him out. I mean, he cheated on you for months and lied about it continuously. Toss him. It's under $80. That's like a parking ticket. He has to pay the fine for cheating on you, and it's like $70.
That's
can-
not the
That's
fine.
like
That
a
should be
cheating
way
fine.
more.
No,
yeah,
that's what I'm
Give me a
saying. That's a
cheating
deal.
fine,
That's the-
$70.
It's a deal. It's like not even like you should be paying like thousands of dollars, but he's just paying $70. That's nothing. But there are some comments, so we're going to jump into them. Comment number 1, not the a-hole. He's deliberately sending things to your address to mess with you. Throw it away and block his number. You deserve peace. Reply, and if he does try to make contact, it's a simple, no, none of your trash is here.
Oh my God.
You're out of my life. Reply says, yeah, deny ever receiving anything. Reply, porch pirate must have gotten it. Lol, repackage it and leave it in a visible place on the porch. Okay. Comment 2, I was wondering how far I would have to read before someone stated what should be obvious. Throwing away someone else's mail is illegal and a federal offense. Mark it, return has not been at this address for a length of time, and put it back in the box.
Mm-hmm.
That way, every time your mail person takes one back, they get a reminder that he is gone in the first place, and they will catch more in the future. I'm going through this with my mom. She passed away after changing her address to my house. If I throw it away, she stays on the mailing list. That gets reused and sold, and more mail shows up. Returning it is a hassle to everyone, granted, but being annoyed, charged for return mail is what gets them to take the name off of their list. Okay.
Okay, solution.
Reasonable answer.
No, it's the solution. We found it.
Perhaps one route. Take an Amazon delivery is not a federal offense like the mail, but you know it's not yours, so you are stealing it regardless of the reason why. That's what I was going to say, because I feel like if it's official mail, that is a federal offense, but I'm pretty sure Amazon packages, it's not a federal offense given how many people steal Amazon packages.
I don't.
Not that that's good, to be clear.
I just don't care about legality. Just send it back.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't care about legality?
Yeah, I'm a freaking bad apple. What about it?
Whoa.
I'm traveling with you in very soon. I'm very scared.
You better
You're
watch
screwed,
out.
dude.
If more Amazon boxes show up, then you have to contact them, tell them you did not order it. Most likely what they will do is tell you to keep it, then you can do with it whatever you want, and Amazon just had to pay out for delivery, so that happens a few times. And Amazon is going to put a stop to it, is my guess. Do not give this guy easy ammunition. He would probably love the chance to take you to small claims court or to share on social media how jealous and vindictive you are for stealing the necklace set he
Oh.
got for his new girl and baby.
Like it's a trap card.
Okay, but
Mm.
you can't prove that.
With the Reddit.
What if he's
Yeah,
like
well,
watching
there we
from
go.
afar?
Yeah, if they find this Reddit story, you
You
can't
just
prove it.
outed yourself.
That's on you, girl. Now you can't do the throwaway route. Update. First, thank you all for the comments reminding me that I don't owe him anything. I don't know why I still feel guilty for doing what I want to do. I just got home from work, so as of now, the package is still in my possession. Later today, the dreaded text did come. No, I did not block him. He said he just found out they sent another package to my house and claimed he went off on customer service for using his billing address again. I left him on red. Interesting because this is the first package from this company to ever arrive at this house. But mostly his billing address is still my house. Okay.
Mm.
He
Mm.
hasn't
Mm.
changed it. He knows he hasn't changed it and he feels that's a valid excuse for the mix-up. He's running away from tons of debt collectors, so now starting to put together the dots of why he's not updating his address. If it was a true mistake, part of me thought possibly he might not have the audacity to reach out to me about the gift to avoid awkwardness or shame due to the nature of the gift. I know if I was in his shoes, I would have written that off as a loss, moved on with my life, and bought a replacement to avoid the awkward and cringy conversation. I've taken the advice of many here and bought a return to sender stamp from Amazon
Okay, good.
to use on everything else I get from here on out. Until then, I hope he doesn't just show up at my house unannounced because I'm not sure if I'm going to respond. I'm going to think about the package one more night before sending it into the abyss. Additional update for clarity on the affair baby. I'm getting a lot of questions on the timeline of the affair baby. The baby was born last year. Calculating conception date based on the due date, he knocked her up while we were still married.
I thought that was assumed.
Yeah. I think OP's just doubling. I didn't say conception based on birth date because the baby was born 3 months early. How did I find out? Friends on social media. How did I know the details? He told me. Info overshared in several of his excuses as to why he couldn't meet with the estate attorney back when I was removing him from the home's deed. More info than I would have ever cared to know. And there is a second update, but do you have any other thoughts?
Just already
Any
feels
new
more
thoughts?
complicated than it needs to be.
About what? About like the
The whole story. Like,
It's always it's Reddit.
just send it back and you
Yeah,
don't
and there
need
we
to
go.
think too hard about it.
Yeah. Well, I think it's like
We live for the drama here.
but I think it's like it is kind of something that you have to think hard about. Not necessarily on what to do, but it is just something that would probably bring up all of these
Yes.
emotions.
I understand that like
Yeah.
the emotional context and story behind it is so much larger than this scenario.
Mm-hmm.
And that being said, if you don't want to deal with it, just send it back.
Return it. And now it's out of your hands. I didn't think this post would blow up like it did. I'm a little nervous that he's going to see the post and know it's about him, even though this is a throwaway account, but part of me doesn't care. Thank you to everyone for the advice and for reminding me that I owe him nothing. It also brought to light that I'm being entirely too kind to someone who continues to torment me and use me. Oh, also, I really enjoyed all the creative toxic ideas of what to do with the necklace
Oh no.
and had some good laughs.
I thought we were going the other way. I thought we were going to be responsible. And
Well, we don't know yet. We don't
compassionate.
know yet.
It-
Despite wanting to say no contact, today I finally responded to my ex-husband's text from yesterday. I wrote, "Weird you didn't change your billing address."
what Sophia was saying.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He texts, "Apple Pay still is the old billing address. Then freaking change it, dude." So I responded, "It's been a year and he should probably go through his accounts and change his address. As of last week, anything sent here for him should have been returned to sender. No response." And you should respond that to us that you're going to go listen to full episodes with stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app and search up OK Storytime.
Please respond.
Please respond.
Please.
Just tell us in the chat that
Please tell us you'll
that you're going to do it.
watch.
Let's finish this story. To clarify, I do not have his new address. He went through great lengths to keep that secret since he lives with a fair partner. So I can't file a change of address in his place or forward his debt collection mail to him. He used his mother's address in our legal documents, so she's about to start getting a lot of collection mail. I received the return to sender stamp this morning and will be sending everything back moving forward until the post office gets the hint. I know this isn't as dramatic as hoped, so sorry to disappoint. As for the package, what package?
No.
We don't know what that means. It could mean that she just returned it to
obvious
sender.
what that means.
She could have just returned to sender.
I'm disappointed.
I'm not.
I finally left my husband. His affair partner exposed him. I, 26 female, have been with my husband, 29 male. Let's call him Kyle, for 7 years.
Oh.
Married for 4.
It's a long one.
Our relationship began as something too good to be true. He was amazing and made my life so much brighter. We were truly best friends from the start. By the way, this comes from Casey June July, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to r/showcase storytime subreddit. So we moved in together after only 3 weeks of knowing each other
Whoa.
and were inseparable.
You move fast.
We were the couple people would say, I just want something like you and Kyle. You two were so perfect for each other.
Sorry. 3 weeks. Wow.
3 weeks,
I'm still
bro.
on that.
And I agreed. We weren't each other's typical type, and it felt like the universe brought us together. A year and a half later, he planned an elaborate proposal, and we got engaged a year and a half later.
Wow. And just a year and a half.
Oh, it was magical. I couldn't have planned anything more special and romantic. We set our wedding for a year and a half later. After a year, we went on our bachelor/bachelorette trips, and we had our first fight after being together for 2.5 years.
To me, that's a red flag.
Since my bachelorette party was a month before his, he set some ground rules. Call every night when you get back to the house, and no hanging out at houses with men for me, or women for him. My bachelorette party went
What?
perfectly. No temptations, just a weekend at the beach with my girls. Skip to his bachelor party, and he disappears for 6 hours. No calls, no texts. And then I see one of his friends' social media posts that they were hanging out with a group of girls. In the video, Kyle is standing really close to a girl in a red bikini. They were talking, and she is holding his phone
Oh.
in her hand.
Oh.
I tried calling and texting him and his friends for a few hours without a response.
He said the ground rules included himself and then was the one who broke them.
When I finally got in contact with him, he said his phone was inside charging and that he was wasted and didn't think hanging out with the girls would be an issue. Yeah, he was just wasted, dude.
Oh, okay, my bad.
I'm not stupid. I know he most likely cheated on me,
Whoa.
but I chose to move forward with the
Is
wedding.
it cheating if you're wasted?
Wow.
Yeah.
Which was now only 3 months away. Partly because I loved him and knew I'd forgive him eventually, and partly because my parents had already spent a lot of money on our wedding.
Oh, okay, my bad.
Our wedding was beautiful. A perfect day. Shortly after, the vid hit, and we were stuck at home, unable to live our normal life of going and traveling. 9 months into marriage, I found out that he had created a fake social media account. I say fake because it wasn't his main profile, but he used his real name. Stupid. He was following several women, including his ex. I made him pack his things and move out of our house.
That's the thing. That's the thing. That's your line. Not even you thinking he cheated. Just him following his ex on a fake Instagram is your no to the relationship.
After being separated for 3 weeks, I found no evidence that he was actually contacting any of these women. He promised he'd never do something like that again, and I forgave him. He moved back in, encouraged by my family. Our relationship had never been better. It felt stronger, and we were more connected. We bought our first house together after a year and a half later, and 4 months after moving in, I found out I was pregnant. This is where everything began to crumble.
Oh, no.
We did talk about me going off birth control and decided it was the right time to start trying for a baby. But when I told him I was pregnant, he didn't have the reaction I thought he would.
Huh.
Big reason I fell in love with this man because I knew he'd be a great father. He was amazing with other kids and always talked about wanting a family of his own. He's a big kid at heart. Dude, this scares me because I think of myself this way. The way she just described her partner, I'm like, dude,
Yeah.
that's me. And now I'm like, oh, he's about to do something horrible.
Well, as long as you're not horrible, I think you're in the clear.
All right. When it came to my pregnancy, he didn't want to talk about anything baby related. He seemed to pretend the baby didn't exist. He started going out more without me and planning more guy trips. I didn't mind. I'm more of a homebody and loved being at home, nesting and preparing for the baby's arrival. I thought he was feeling overwhelmed by the life change and just needed time to let his hair down. I'm not a jealous person. I was very confident he wouldn't cheat on me because he's my best friend.
But you already assumed he cheated on you.
But she found no evidence.
But she still assumed it. But now
Yeah,
she's like,
yeah.
I would never assume that.
And his friends would often talk about how lucky he was to have me as his partner. I also think I'm quite beautiful. Brag.
Humble brag.
But he began treating me more like a roommate.
Oh.
We had a few small arguments in the past about him taking advantage of me cooking and cleaning for him without showing appreciation. Now, he stopped taking me on dates and didn't ask if I wanted to go with him and his friends when they hung out. This was shocking because we had been inseparable for the last 5 years. 3 weeks ago, I found out he cheated on me while on one of his boy trips last summer. Oh.
Do you think that's the first time?
He met a girl at a bar, bought her drinks, danced with her, and made out. They even took a picture together. They exchanged numbers, and the next day, when she found out he was married, he blocked her on all of his social medias and her phone number. This is how I found her. 2 weeks before I discovered this, I had found his anonymous online profile and saw that he had been sending explicit photos. I confronted him, and he apologized, saying he was depressed.
I heard that's actually what cures depression.
Really?
Yeah.
I had already planned to leave and move in with my mom for a while, but I couldn't shake the feeling that I was missing something. Like you said, so I checked his blocked account on social media.
John, we're going to get back to the story,
Yeah.
but you're old.
You're as old as me now, pal.
I might be as old as you, but I feel like you have oodles more wisdom.
I've got some wisdom in this old noggin.
You got a
baby.
piece of wisdom for me right now?
Always respect you.
And I think the other piece of wisdom that I've learned from John is join OK Storytime memberships.
Yeah, that's freaking right. We have 60 plus hours of exclusive live streams on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays.
And it's only $5 a month, so go to the link in our description, youtube.com/OKOP show/join.
Get it now while I'm still alive.
Now back to the story.
I thought it was strange there was a girl I didn't know on the list, so I messaged her. She spilled everything, even telling me that his friends had been lying for him, claiming he was single.
Oh, the friends are in on it. Friends are in on it.
You guys are just perfect together. I love you guys together. Blah, 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 blah,
Yeah.
blah.
Anyways, yeah, he's single. Like, he's a great guy. You should date him.
Oh, snakes.
Yep.
I confronted him. And of course, he said she was lying.
Oh.
I left and moved
Okay,
in with my mom.
she's just lying, so it's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was wasted. She was lying. I was depressed.
Yeah. Yeah, these all check out.
Yeah. Not excuses. These are not excuses.
These are just real reasons.
Since then, I have found out more.
Oh, no.
Not as danging, but still behavior I wouldn't want my husband engaging in behind my back. I feel sick and devastated that he could do this to me and our child.
Damn.
I did mention I was home alone for 8 days with our 5-month-old baby while he was on a trip making out with another girl. I feel like I sacrificed so much of my happiness for this man, trying to make his life as happy as possible, and he gave it all up for what? Like I said, I'm not stupid. I know there are probably more instances of him cheating, but I don't want to know. I'm already done, and we got a freaking update.
Well, I imagine the update is just maybe finding out more crap that he's
Not
done.
sure if anyone will care, but I found myself thinking about this post a lot and wanted to give an update. Posted here 9 months ago about me leaving my husband. The few first months were hard. I tried to maintain a friendship with him for the sake of our son, but just found myself getting hurt over and over again. So I distanced myself. And after a while, I decided to get on a dating app, mostly to keep my mind off of him. Interesting. I met someone and we connected instantly.
Oh.
I'll call him Matt. We texted and talked for a week before meeting in person. I didn't think it would be serious. I just wanted to get out of the house and have some fun. Turns out, he's an amazing man.
Okay. Shout out, Matt.
I didn't even know people like him existed.
Aw.
He's sweet and thoughtful, makes me laugh until I can't breathe. He's understanding, supportive, and actually listens to me when I talk. He's a parent too, and he loves kids more than anything.
Wow.
I have been dating Matt for 6 months, and I don't think I've ever been this happy in my life. I look back at my marriage with Kyle in disbelief. How did I not notice how terrible he was for so long? Matt brings me flowers and surprises me with date nights and little gifts just to show he was thinking about me when we aren't together. Despite living an hour away, he brings food to me and my son when we are sick.
Oh.
If I'm having a bad day, he lets me talk his ear off and drops off my favorite sweets at my house. Matt is an amazing cook, and we trade off nights in the kitchen. When it's my turn to cook, he spends quality time with the kids. The laughter in the house is almost constant. This is so far off from what my life was with Kyle. My ex only sees her son about 4 days a month and is constantly finding excuses to leave him with me or drop him off with his grandparents for the weekend. Being a man who loves his kids and mine has really opened my eyes to what kind of a father Kyle is. Matt and I don't live together. He spends a lot of time at my house because my home is bigger. It accommodates all of us better than his house. And I have my son almost every day. Despite not living with me, he helps clean, does laundry, helps fix things around the house. He always comments that I don't let him do enough. But he's more for me than anyone has been in my life. He picks me up and takes on so much that he doesn't have to, but he does it with a smile on his face. He never lets a day pass without telling me how much he loves me and appreciates me. And we would love and appreciate you if you go to your favorite podcast platform and search up what, Alex?
Search up OK Storytime.
And what platforms could they go to?
Apple, Spotify, your favorite podcast platform.
And how many stories like this do we have?
Like a crap ton.
Exactly. I have learned from my past and won't be moving in with anyone anytime soon. Okay.
Okay, she's learning, Riley.
She's learning.
She's learning.
Okay.
We can trust her a little more here.
I was fooled once, but that won't happen again. Neither Matt or I want any more kids. We are so happy with the way our life is now. No pressure, just living our lives happily alongside each other with our kids.
Okay, no pressure.
No pressure.
We're looking good.
To everyone out there who hopes your partner will change and grow up, they won't, and most likely never will. Find someone who makes you happy because they want to, not because you're begging them to.
Mm-hmm.
There are good people out there. And that is the end.
My husband cheated on me multiple times, but he made up for it by providing me with a lavish lifestyle.
I mean, to each their own.
I am a 54-year-old man who loves men, and I've been married to my husband for over 10 years, but we have been together for 25 years total. I have been a devoted husband for the whole time. Not once have I wanted to be with anybody else but him. To keep everything a bit private, I'm going to use fake names here. Let's call my husband Rick.
All right, Morty.
Oh. By the way, this comes from Physical Wonder 1673, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, when I met Rick, I was 29 years old. I've always been quite thin, and well, Rick was not a bad-looking guy, but he was a bit overweight when we met, but someone who has always tried to eat and stay healthy. I have never been someone who has ever fallen for somebody simply because they're good-looking, though. I have always looked at the whole individual, their personality, and how they presented themselves. I fell for Rick because I truly liked him, and he pursued me like a hawk and would not let it up. I fell for this and the fact that he was genuinely a very nice, charismatic guy. We both adore dogs and have 5 dogs of our own. We love doing rescue and have devoted a big portion of our free time to rescue operations and making sure other dogs have a chance at a good life. We both do very well financially. We have paid off the mortgage and have a very decent amount in our retirement accounts. We both still work full-time jobs. I'm a computer programmer and he works in the journalist entertainment industry. Rick's job requires him to travel to different destinations all around the world. Expenses are always paid for, so he can be gone for sometimes a couple of weeks a month. Oh, dang. About 10 years ago, I discovered a profile on a men-loving men dating site that Rick had created. I thought he had created the website for a second. I was like,
I invented
dang.
a homosexual dating app.
When I approached him regarding this, he mentioned that it was only used at the time for a promotional stunt and that he would never meet anybody. He reassured me that he is not interested in being with anyone except me. I dropped the subject and never spoke of this again. During the years, we have been through quite a bit together. I was a big mama's boy. My mom was super cool and accepted Rick and considered him part of the family. I talked to my mother each day, and we had an amazing mom and son relationship. In 2007, my mother came to my house for a visit and delivered devastating news that she had just been to the doctor because she was not feeling well. The doctor had let my mother know that she only had 2 years to live. but I lost my mom 3 months later in 2008.
Doc, can you sue that doctor for being so wrong?
That's so sad.
What?
This was one of the hardest things I have ever been through. My father had called me at 3 a.m. that my mom was not doing well and asked me to get to the hospital quickly because she was getting ready to cross over. Rick had an event that was scheduled the next morning and was leaving on a flight a week's trip when I was getting ready to go to the hospital. He asked me if I wanted him to be there. Of course I did, but instead he said it won't change anything. And if he stayed, it would most likely be that she would survive and that he would have canceled the event for no reason.
Okay, that's very cold. That's exceptionally cold. I need a sweater. That's so cold.
Oh my God, you monster. I'm sorry. Your partner just told you, your partner of like seemingly, many, many years, just told you that their mom is on her like passing away bed, very, very ill, might not make it through the night, and needs, regardless of whether or not she makes it, you should be there. You should absolutely be there.
If you cared.
Yeah, if you cared.
So
But she doesn't.
Sounds like this person doesn't care.
At the time, I guess I saw his logic, but was also so overwhelmed with emotion, I just did not want to push the situation, so I let it go. By the time I got to the hospital, my mom had already passed away. Oh.
No.
So one of the most difficult times of my life, and I was alone and heartbroken. My fault for not taking this as a sign of things to come with Rick becoming distant towards me. I mean, yeah, that should have been a huge, blazing red sign.
Yeah, I'm starting to feel like my whole "to each their own" take is not applicable in this situation. You're just in a long-term relationship with someone who doesn't value you as a human.
Yeah. Now, when someone passes, you would think the other partner would be there for comfort. Well, that did not happen. Not saying he did not. He was sorry, but I feel like I wasn't allowed to be sad. When I say he became distant, well, I mean there was no intimacy for months, and I was becoming suspicious. One particular day, Rick asked me to look something up, so I grabbed his phone. I do not have anything to hide, nor should he. Well, my first sign something was a bit off when I saw that his phone was locked. He grabbed his phone and said, "Use your own." Okay, I thought that was strange.
My minutes are low.
Now, I do not want to brag, but I am pretty good when it comes to technology. I know my way around a computer in a way that I do have an advantage over your normal, typical user. He's like, I'm a bit of a hacker.
He's like, I
It's
know
no
what a
big deal.
VPN is.
Yeah.
And I use Firefox.
So that move got me super curious and caught me completely off guard. So the next time he left his phone laying around, which I found he was being super careful not to do this, I took the opportunity to give my first attempt a try. Bingo, I was in.
6969.
Immediately, I found that he installed a dating app. He was hooking up with random guys on his trip and having spicy encounters. This really took me off guard. My heart literally dropped. You are never prepared to find concrete proof that your partner is cheating. It's like ripping a deep hole in your gut. Anyways, I took my time processing this for a few days, and then I confronted him about this.
Wow, so this is not the context I thought was going to be presented to us based on the title. Based on the title, it sounded like we talked, and I let him, sleep around, but I love the new sports car.
No.
That's not what this
He
is.
is being cheated on, and this person is terrible. He said it was my fault because I had become difficult to be around, and I was moody.
Because they just lost their mother?
And that I pushed him to do this. And also, it seems like it was happening before. What the heck? I did not know how to comprehend his comment. He definitely has a way of selling his statements and making you question things. Okay, I sat down and took some time with this new information, and we both decided that we can work through this together. Why? Why did we decide that?
Money.
Sunk
But
cost
OP, it seems like
fallacy,
they both-
comfort in a moment where it's like your whole world is already falling around you, so
It's not even, I mean,
you want
like,
to
I
hold on to the
understand.
one thing you already know for a long time.
I understand that, but it's like this man's not even giving you comfort.
No,
He's giving you nothing.
he's giving you if anything, he's giving you the opposite of that.
Yeah.
He's actively distressing you.
Option 1, let's make this an open relationship, then we can both cheat. Not that I had any desire to do this, but thought I would make this easy.
Why is that option 1?
That's a terrible option.
Option
Option
one,
2,
make
let's
everything
stop
worse.
and rethink everything and start anew.
That should
He
be
chose option 2 because he does not like the idea of it being open for me.
What?
Dude, you leave now. Now you leave. You
Leave.
leave.
Oh, I don't like you going out
Leave.
there, but I've been cheating on you, so like, no.
Again, not going to toot my own horn, but I've been told that I'm a pretty decent looking guy. I've always kept myself slim and really take good care of myself, so I think it freaked him out that I even offered option 1. So option 2 it was. I know I am very trustworthy and like to take people's word when they say they are going to do something. I think this is one of my personality faults. He said he deleted the dating apps, plural. I guess there was more than one.
Oops, you told on yourself, buddy.
Yikes. Anyways, let's fast forward some years later. Things never really recovered, mainly because it kind of grossed me out that he was sleeping with other guys. And honestly, I wanted him to win me back, but to me, it felt like he was trying to turn the tables on me, winning him back. WTF?
Years?
Anyways, this was not going to happen. Years pass and things are progressing as well as it could be, and we again have some good and bad times.
Years pass? What are we doing?
My father passed away in May of 2021 after a long battle with brain disease.
And let me guess, your partner was like, he deserved it. Or something.
Or why are you being so moody? I'm gonna go cheat on you.
Dude, 14 years.
Here's
14
$20
years.
for lunch. Yeah.
I have been spending a lot of time with my father and working from his house with my current job. This was another avenue that challenged me in many ways, but Rick did stand by me on this one and was helping when he got the chance, and when I asked for help, this was a welcoming change. Things were going really well. One day, Rick left his phone out. He was busy playing a video game, and well, you guessed it. I just could not help myself. I immediately found myself curious. Dude, again, if we are having to check our partner's phones, the relationship isn't working. We know the relationship isn't working. You found proof that isn't working.
You gonna give me another bruise on my eyelid, man.
Leave.
It's over.
Leave.
Forever.
Forever.
I grabbed his phone and immediately again was able to break in. Okay, caught again. Now I have caught him multiple times. I actually do love him and care for him, but now I'm lost. No, you're not. You're not lost. You know what to do.
You know in your heart what you gotta do. You just don't want to do it because
That's
it's
the thing.
scary.
Sometimes I'm talking to friends or like talking to people and they're like, oh, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. Like I'm so mixed inside. I'm like, no. You do know what to do. You just don't want to do it.
Yeah, you're afraid.
It's
And
scary.
it's natural. You're
It's
afraid.
very natural.
Everyone gets afraid.
What's the Kylo Ren thing? He's like,
I know what
I know what I
must
have to do, but I don't think I have the strength to do it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Ugh.
I feel so alone and lost. I have nobody to turn to. My brother lives quite far away. The only family I have near is my niece and nephews, and honestly, they all think highly of Rick. Well, I'm sure they won't think highly of Rick if you let them know what's been going on. I know they would believe me, but this adds so much drama to my life, and honestly, drama takes a toll. You already have drama in your life. Your
Dude.
partner keeps cheating on you.
It's been drama for this whole time.
Freaking 14 years.
You've been playing the who's gonna you've been gaming each other, like being like, you got to win me back. No, you have to win me back, little sad boy because your mom like suddenly tragically passed away. Little sad sack.
I don't want drama, but then again, how can I avoid it? I am inserting one thing here. Before this last section, there was a significant development. Rick had started taking a weight loss substance and had lost a considerable amount of weight.
Yeah, it starts with O.
He looks really good, and although I have always been attracted to him emotionally, now I can honestly say I am also physically attracted to him. Dude, you just told us that you are physically attractive, dude. Go find other people. I'm sure there's tons of people that would want to date you that won't freaking cheat on you. Although I am still quite a bit grossed out with the fact that he has been with other guys and is a cheater, I know Rick does truly care about me. No, he doesn't. He provides me with a very lucrative lifestyle. I get to literally drive a new car every week. He's thoughtful and kind. No, he isn't. And does give me a nice lifestyle, one that I know would be much different without him. The one thing I am missing is affection and the physical part, which kind of sucks. So, the relationship part.
Yeah, the whole part of that where you're in a relationship with somebody is what you're missing?
I always thought being into men, I would never have to worry about those things. Here is a punter for you. There was another episode of an Uber driver that found out the person she picked up was cheating and drove him and his mistress to the cheating husband's house, something to that effect. Rick got defensive and said it was not the Uber driver's business and the driver should have stayed out of it. I did not agree with this remark, and ever since, he has always not liked it. When I tune in to watch these videos,
Some sort of
some
mysterious
other
place where
it has been crossing my mind lately to just install a dating app and put myself out there and just start my own side relationship. But when I say I hate drama, I really do mean I hate drama. Dude, it doesn't seem like you hate drama. It just seems like you like being rich.
That's what I'm saying. Money.
Yes, that's true. And guess what? Ezekiel, I'm about to call you out because you just made a comment that was quoting Jurassic Park, and she doesn't say Lennox. She says Unix. Ha ha! Stop saying I hate dogs. Okay. Sorry. Had to say it.
So here I am writing. Maybe I'm doing this just to release stress and frustration. Or maybe seeing how many people call me stupid for staying in such a one-sided relationship. But it's never a one-sided relationship. If you listen to full episodes of stories just like this,
That's right.
just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search up OK Storytime.
It's
There is
true.
A wee bit left to the story, but any
I don't know
final
if I would say that you're stupid.
You stupid.
Like, you're just a victim of
Yeah.
this relationship and of this guy who I guess was so charismatic that he put like a spell upon you.
literally.
And that's
also now
that
you're
spells
like
money. That
money.
spells richness.
Yeah, you're like, ooh,
and he's
I
hot.
like how I'm comfortable in this
I drive a
lifestyle.
new car every week.
That's crazy.
Why?
Who does?
Why though? Why?
Oh, OP. Yeah.
Yeah,
Why
it's
do
like-
you need to drive a new? Why is that a draw?
That's
If someone
yeah.
was like,
It's luxury.
"Hey,
Is it though?
I'm gonna
Uh,
cheat on you,
Not
but
for me, but for somebody else.
don't worry, you're gonna get to drive a new
That's
car every
that's
week."
weird for me. It's just like
I want to drive one car for my life.
Yeah.
I don't want to ever have to drive a new car.
Really?
I if my Prius could stay in the same condition for the rest of my life, I would just drive that one forever.
Well, when you know, you know.
When you found the
Yeah,
one,
I don't
you
think
found the
I
one.
didn't hear anything that was anywhere close to being equaling the scales here on like what's
It's
an acceptable amount of luxury
It's
to
literally-
tolerate this treatment.
What the husband's doing is here's a shiny new toy that'll distract you for a little bit.
And
I'm gonna go
apparently it
cheat.
works.
Yeah. And you're gonna be happy. It's gonna give you temporary happiness.
Yeah, OP
And
is-
rinse and repeat. Rinse and repeat.
Your husband is or your partner is treating you like a baby with object permanence, with no object
But
permanence.
it's like
Yeah.
Like,
it seems like
ooh, new
OP's so
car.
cognizant of it but doesn't care. It's like,
Yeah,
all
I
right, I'll just
know.
shut up. You like a shiny new toy? I'll shut up.
The thing is, you're not a baby with no object permanence,
Yeah.
but you're being treated like this, and you're letting it kind of happen. Let's finish this off. I feel trapped. We do not have kids, but we have dogs. And I am the type that really considers them family and my kids, and it would hurt me and him if we separated from them. We both take the responsibility of pet parenting to heart and really do the best for our doggy family. Now, let's not forget about finances in the house and our investments. We both have quite a bit riding on this relationship, and quite frankly, I do not know a way out. Whatever direction I would take, it would be messy. Now, telling me to get out and run is easy to say, but in my position is not easy to do. Honestly, what do I do? Do I leave? How do I even approach that idea? Help. You leave.
Take one of the cars and leave.
Take one of the
You gotta
many, many
strike
cars.
out on your own,
Take
my guy.
3 cars, drive away,
Leave.
leave.
Divorce.
And you know what? If you're like a hot, attractive guy, guess what? You can go probably find another guy who's rich who'll
Sure,
treat you
there's-
1,000 times better than this one.
Truly.
Like, I don't know what happened that hooked you into this guy so hard, but it's
Yeah.
like
What's so
you
great
can just
about him?
leave. It's true, but it's scary.
It's going to be messy, literally anyway, but the best option for you is leaving. Because in the long run, it's the cleanest way to go.
It's
but
true.
that is the end of that
That
story.
is the end of that story.
And we have one more.
My boyfriend cheated on me with my step siblings, so I exposed him to his mother.
Exposed him what way?
Oh,
Because one way would not be good.
hopefully not Snapchat.
Yeah. Ooh.
Same.
Oh, big.
So when I was around 17, I started dating a guy, 19. I'll call him Jake for the sake of the post. Also, the age of consent where I live is 16, so nothing illegal is happening here. We got on well, spent a lot of time together, and cared for each other a lot. We even started talking about living together. Once we both moved out, we were a perfectly happy couple. Keyword is were there. They are probably.
That is always a concerning little sentence. We were, or so I thought. It's always in a or so I thought, or a were.
Or so I thought.
Oh, yep.
There it is.
Always like.
By the way, this comes from Mikey Audrey Myers. And if you want to send in your story, go to r/OKStorytime subreddit. Send them in. We'll read them. You see, after we'd been dating for a few months, something in Jake changed. He was getting a lot more distant. Whenever he was with me, he'd be checking his phone constantly. We stopped spending as much time together, and he started to get really funny about public affection regarding things like hand holding and stuff. What you hiding, buddy?
Ew. I don't want my hands to be sweaty.
Ooh, we'll get them clammy hands. He also seemed to start caring less and less about my feelings. Oh, that's not a good trend. Insults started to seep into our everyday life. He'd pick on my appearance a lot, bring up my family. Wow, I was dealing with a lot of family issues at the time. Bring up the fact that I slept around before we started dating, a sort of rebellion caused by the family issues, etc. If I got upset by it, he would just leave the room and let me cry by myself. I started to feel like it was my fault our relationship was falling apart. Maybe I just wasn't good enough for him.
It sounds like he's trying to get you to break up with him because he doesn't have the cojones to do it himself.
Dude, that is a astute observation.
It's
and his cojones are mere
shriveled
not
up
just
peas.
Pebbles, molecules,
My
molecular
not even,
sack.
You know what? No, atoms. I'm not even gonna give him a molecule. You know,
it can't get smaller than that,
yeah.
ladies
No,
and
well,
gentlemen.
you know what? No, it can. Electrons.
Electrons.
No, you know what? Quark.
No,
string. Is the base of freaking matter. He's
interdimensionally invisible.
Yes. Yeah. Ooh, I like that.
That's what you're going
I feel like
is.
that's a cool screen name.
Interdimensionally
invisible.
Invisible. That is kind of a cool screen name.
But it's like a cool screen name for someone who's like I'm just interdimensionally invisible. No
or you're
one
just like
notices
cool,
me.
you know.
But then we noticed you, and then you're like, oh wait, maybe I'm cool. Maybe I'm actually maybe I'm cute.
Chat.
Yeah, then you win.
Someone grab that. It's out there. Now, I knew deep down that he was cheating on me, and that was confirmed when I got a message from a guy, David, on Facebook, telling me that he'd been sleeping with Jake.
Oh, boy.
Sorry.
He
apologized profusely and told me that he broke things off with Jake as soon as he found out that he had a boyfriend. I couldn't be mad at David. It wasn't his fault. I'm guessing the affair partner. We spoke for hours and I reassured David that it wasn't his fault and that he'd done nothing wrong. David also helped me to stop making excuses for Jake's attitude and the way he'd been acting. He was a godsend.
Conspiracy theory.
Mm-hmm.
David knew that there was a boyfriend and then said, oh, I didn't realize I was cheating on you with your boyfriend, but actually wants OP the whole time. And so is using this to get close to OP and is going to relationship hop to OP. Boom.
Wow.
Boom.
That was
conspiracy.
You just cooked.
Yeah.
That's wow.
Oh, yeah.
Now I'm afraid. Oh, God.
Oh, yeah.
Well, the thing that truly broke me happened not too long after the cheating was discovered. We'd been arguing a heck of a lot more. Then he decided to do something absolutely forgivable. You see, I had a strained relationship with my father for years. He'd cheat on my mother constantly, and eventually he settled down and had kids with a girl that he'd be seeing behind her back. He did try to have some sort of relationship with me until I was about 13, 14-ish, and then he decided that he just didn't love me as much as his other kids, and we stopped any and all contact.
This is rough.
Brody's a piece of work. This guy sucks.
This guy, you know, some guys are just born on this earth.
Just born to interdimensionally invisible cojones.
Mm-hmm. Born to interdimensionally
or put them together. It all works.
I will those cojones until they're interdimensionally invisible.
I mean, you might be. Are we trying to do them a favor or teach them a lesson here?
I will be like a Dementor and that soul out.
Oh, well, you heard it here first. Samuel Donner, 2025.
Harry Potter 3, goated.
It always goes.
It hits.
No
But
matter
Harry
what.
Potter 4 makes me smile most.
That one,
That's great.
I can't get. I was about to get into a ranking. I can't go there, guys. I can't go there.
Yeah. What's your Harry Potter ranking? Put your answers below. I want to know.
Yes, and compare it with mine, and then I'll roast you. But it broke me, and it still hurts to think about it to this day. Anyways, Jake went out of his way to find one of my step siblings online and slept with them. Ho! He slept with one of OP's step siblings.
I mean, when you find a type.
They're not even related.
When you want to keep it in the family.
Yeah.
Oh,
you want to keep it in the
man.
family. They're not related, but they have they probably
Grew
share
up a similar environment.
Yeah,
life
exactly. They
experience.
have like same. It's
Why
like
am I helping you?
It's like, you know, you like
What am I
one
doing?
can of Campbell's soup, and you're like, all right, well, let me try this other flavor.
What's the Alfredo like?
Yeah, what's the Alfredo like? And it's like, I'll probably I like Campbell's chicken noodle soup.
Oh.
So maybe I'll like
Golly.
the other one, you know?
Well, he bragged about it the next day, and my step-sibling actually posted online about what had happened, and I received a bunch of messages from their friends telling
Why would you post online about that?
me how I had deserved it.
What?
This was probably the lowest point in my life, and I hated myself. Partly for allowing it to happen, and partly because I had started to believe what they were saying. My only solace during this time was David. I didn't want to burden my friends with problems, and David was the only person who knew firsthand what Jake was like. We spoke for a few weeks, and eventually talk turned to revenge. I had tried calling things off about a couple of months prior due to Jake's awful behavior, but he started with the apologies and telling me he didn't mean it. He'd never do it again.
Bro, man's working his way through like the whole town right now while you're in a relationship.
Your whole family.
Yeah, your whole family.
Golly.
Like, I don't think this guy deserves a break.
No.
Well, I mean, he should take a break from working his way through your family, but
Yeah.
you don't need to give him a
Him
break
a
in
break.
terms of the relationship.
Yeah, bro. If he's not taking a break, then he
Yeah,
doesn't
you
get
need
one.
to, you need to break his kneecaps. That's
Oh,
what you need to do.
good
You need to break
golly.
some caps, you know?
Ooh. I didn't say
Would
that.
that be fun?
Breaking kneecaps?
Breaking some kneecaps.
Be disgusting.
Okay.
Like if you didn't have empathy for other humans and you're just like, let's-
Psychopath, something like that?
Yeah, you're all right. You're a psychopath. You're in the mob. Fun?
No, it's just gross.
But you're a psychopath.
It's still gross.
You'd be
Like,
a bad psychopath.
I would be. Like, I don't even like getting shots, man. I can't handle all that. That's too much for me. But kneecaps aside, Opie says he even spoke to some of my family members who unknowingly pressured me to get back together with him because we were such a sweet couple. I hadn't wanted to tell them the real reason that we'd broken up, so I kept the details pretty vague, though I'm pretty sure some of them had seen my step-siblings post and knew why I didn't want to be with him. After weeks of talking and planning, I had finally had enough and decided to do something about it. My father wasn't exactly a rich man, but he worked a pretty well-paying job and earned enough money to live fairly comfortably. He had begun spreading rumors around when I was younger during a custody battle with my mother that he had set up a trust fund for me and that there was enough money there to get me set up in my own place when I was 18 plus a bit extra. But you see, I knew this was absolute BS. He tried to get out of paying child support all the time. Of course, he'd never set up a trust fund for me. Again, this is the same dad that at 13, 14 was like, no.
Yeah,
I don't love you.
dipping out.
I don't love you. I'll just go.
Why was he spreading that rumor? For clout? Probably clout rumor.
Yeah. He's like I feel like he's addicted to the attention, to the satisfaction of like ruining people's lives and like just terrorizing.
Dude,
He's freaking addicted.
my biggest red flag is that I just like don't believe people lie.
You do try so hard to give the benefit of the doubt.
I just
you know?
don't believe people lie, just like in general.
He just looks for the best in everyone.
Yeah, he looks for the best in everyone. Guys,
I believe too implicitly.
listen, we could all use more of that. You know, some people made an honest mistake. Some people said to their 13-year-old kid, I don't love you, you know?
Just
But-
things like this happen.
But we keep looking.
We keep moving and
We keep moving and grooving,
Yeah.
okay? Now, we'd never spoken about it, but he'd heard the rumors, and I'd always just say what I told my folks. My father was an appalling parent who grudged paying for my mother's child support, so why the heck would he set up a trust fund? But Jake wouldn't listen. He didn't even do his own research into what type of job my father worked and came up with an estimate of how much he thought my father was earning. Bro's busting out the spreadsheets for this rumor. He's
TI-84.
He's committed to it. God, that unlocked core memories.
Yeah, dude.
Oh my goodness gracious. Though to his credit, he did drop the subject whenever I asked him to for a while anyways. I mean, he should have never brought it up in the first place, so he gets no credit. Haha. So I decided to use this to my advantage. Jake and I were still dating, though I avoided him at any chance I got. Wait, Jake and I were still dating,
Why are you still
though
dating?
I avoided him at any chance I got.
So it's like they're dating but separated.
Okay, OP, What?
We gotta have a sit down with you.
So they're separated, but they're not like fully in the relationship.
I don't know what that even means. I guess they just haven't broken up. You
Yeah.
should break up. You should have that conversation. That's
Dude.
crazy.
I mean, he has absolutely reached the point. I mean, listen, comments just absolutely obliterate me. Send me to the Ort if I'm wrong.
Send him
But
to the order.
does this guy deserve to be broken up with?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Chat.
Tell me.
Poll.
Poll.
We're
gonna poll it.
poll. Hit the
Okay.
poll.
This better be 100%. You freaking 1%ers out there, don't do
Don't
it.
you dare.
Sneaky little people.
Yeah.
Break up.
To stay together.
What do we got? Let us know, chat. Let us comments. Go ahead. Just tell me what you think. Give me paragraphs. But Jake and I were still dating at the time, though I avoided him at any chance I got, until one night where I sat him down and told him that since I'd be turning 18 in a couple of weeks, I'd started thinking about us getting our own place with the trust fund my father had set up for me. I think there's some mischievery afoot. He immediately cheered up at this, and honestly, I think that night was the first time in months that he'd said anything nice to me when we weren't in public or with friends/family. This has very nearly made me want to call the whole thing off, but I spoke with David later that night, but he reminded me that Jake would go back to his usual degrading attitude in no time.
Yes. I mean, Jake has proven who he is.
Yeah, for literally you told him like, hey, I'll help you get a place to live. And he's like, oh, you're the best. It's like, yeah, of course he's going to say you're the best. Like he's, that doesn't mean in that for 1 minute of being good that he's
He's
negates
now a good
everything
person.
else.
Yeah.
Come on.
Anyone can be good for a minute.
Anyone can be good for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone at all. Name him. I won't. We started looking at apartments, though Jake was kind enough to let me have the final say and handle the paperwork, because how could he possibly go out and cheat on me if he had to sort out the paperwork for an apartment? I was a little surprised by this, to be very honest, as I'd always thought he'd want his name on the paperwork and everything, so I couldn't punt him out. But by this point, he had slept with my step sibling, degraded me, smashed my self-confidence into pieces, and cheated on me regularly. I think by now he thought that I wouldn't punt him out no matter what he did. Anyways, I started taking extra shifts at work to try and save up enough money to actually move out. Not with Jake though. Oh no. I was moving in with my friend Emma. We had both been thinking about moving out for a while anyways, and thought, why not just be roommates? We found a cute little 1-bedroom apartment that was close to our college and work, and started getting stuff sorted to move in. I also didn't want to bring any trouble to my mother's door if Jake showed up punting up a fuss. Emma had no issues with clawing the face off of him if need be, and told me not to worry about him coming to our front door. Then came the next part of the plan. I waited till a week or so before Jake and I were supposedly moving into our own apartment and stole his phone for a few minutes. He stopped caring about leaving his phone unattended and would sometimes flat out brag how lucky he was to be able to sleep with whoever he wanted and come home to a little witch who would make him dinner.
Why are you still with this guy?
Yeah.
We need this dude needs to be put in the gladiator ring.
Yeah, real quick. So like, there's more to this. There's much more to the story, but OP's like plotting up this whole elaborate revenge thing. And granted, OP's like just turning 18, at the time, but like,
Get this guy out of your life.
just get him out of your life, because think about it. Every moment he's saying that to you while you're still quote unquote in this relationship, that is absolutely.
It's gonna hurt your self-esteem.
It's gonna hurt your self-esteem.
It's gonna hurt your mental peace. Like
Yeah.
the you trying to get revenge is making you more unhappy.
Exactly.
And that's like the end of the day. Like
It's
revenge-
honestly like, it's interesting because it's the antithesis of the story we just read, right? Where it's like, hey, let me try to take the high road because, that's, the best I can do for myself. That's the best I can do for other people. And this is like, okay, let me just like stay in the gutter and just freaking swimming
Dude,
around.
get
in
out
it.
of the gutter.
Get
What are you
get
doing in
coli
there?
your eye. That's
What
no
are you
fun.
doing?
Get-
The gutter's not good.
Climb on out.
Climb on
Get
out,
out of
or
there.
make a little boat and then use a spatula as a paddle, and then get splashed down, and then you know what you find?
What?
You find a cookbook, and whose
Wow.
is it? But your childhood hero Gusto, and then you realize that you've been unparis this whole time, and you could use the gutters to get to your dream life. You know,
use them to your
sometimes you got to
advantage.
start in the gutter as a rat who loves to smell things to get to the restaurant as a rat who loves to cook things.
Wow.
And you'll be on top forever after that.
We'll be on. Yep, that's
Truer
true.
words have never been spoken. So there you go, OP. The blueprint.
The blueprint.
Be a rat in the gutters. Okay. So now that day when we went for a shower, he wasn't all too bothered about taking his phone with him. Perfect. I went to his phone, deleted my number from his contacts, and changed the name of his mom's contact as mine. Pleased, I went to the kitchen, smashed one of the plates. Oh man, it was my mother's, but it was cheap one from a local shop, and I did replace it as soon as possible. Okay, this is just getting worse and worse. I left for work.
OP, this person deserves the worst, but I think everything you're doing is going to make your life worse.
Yeah, it's literally making you more unhappy.
Yeah.
Bringing more problems to your doorstep.
You know, this is like classic, I feel like 18-year-old, I need revenge behavior, but OP, this is not going to solve your problems. It's just going to add more.
It's only going to add to it, my friend. Now, I left for work once everything was done. My mother had left work a couple of hours prior, so she was safe. I just needed a reason for him to get pissed off. And oh boy, did he get pissed off. His first reaction was to text me, calling me all the disgusting names under the sun, except it wasn't me he texted. It was his mom. Okay, again, not the moves you want to do, but I mean, brilliant. Technically, it's him making him expose himself in the plate smashing. It's still too much. It's still too much. But I will say, while I don't agree with the methods,
the madness is fun to look at.
The madness is fun to look at, and there at least was him getting exposed. You know what?
So
Dude
so basically, OP broke a plate, and then the guy just like went ballistic, and then like texted OP or thinking it's
it was
OP, but then texted the mom.
He had switched the contacts before he even broke the plate.
Yeah. I mean, TLDR for Danny Nicole. Basically, OP is in a relationship with a total turd that's cheating on him 24/7. They're now living together.
They were looking for a place together.
Okay, and then OP broke one of the plates that they co-owned.
I think it was his plate. I think it was Jake's plate.
Okay, so OP breaks one of Jake's plates, and then Jake freaks out, and then texts who he thinks is OP, but it's actually Jake's mom.
It's mama.
And so now Jake is exposing how awful he's being to his mom.
And it's like, you bleep, 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 bleep. Like, mom thinks she's calling him that. Yeah. Whew. Well, so I had texted her in advance and told her that I hoped she'd forgive me, but she had to see what her son was really like. She'd never tried to defend him as much as she just hadn't quite known how bad his behavior was. She actually called him out a couple of times where he'd slipped up and been harsh with me when he was there. She went ape crap. I never found out exactly how their argument went, as she phoned him to scream at him and call him out for his crappy behavior, finally seeing how horrible her son was. It didn't help that she'd been sent screenshots of some of the times where he'd admitted to cheating. She was absolutely disgusted by her son's behavior and phoned me to apologize on Jake's behalf. It wasn't her fault though. He's old enough to know how to act like a dang adult. He wound up telling me, his mom, essentially that her opinion didn't matter as he'd be moving in with me anyways.
Yeah, right.
Because that was the other part of Opie's plan. He's setting up all of these appointments and stringing him along to then just, I mean, this is well planned. I'll give you that, OP.
This is a plan.
Needless to say that when he called me on Facebook after I deleted my number from his phone, I took some satisfaction in telling him that we weren't moving in together, the trust fund wasn't real, I'd already told him that in the past, he just refused to listen, and that I moved in with Emma. I was called all the sleuths and oars under the sun. His voice sort of turned into white noise after a while. What OP now falls asleep to. His greatest pleasure in life. I told him we were over and hung up and blocked him on everything. He had to run back to his mom and dad, tail in between his legs, and they took him back for a little while. Though after a bit, the arguments became too much and his parents punted him out of there. He stayed with a couple of friends for a few months before he managed to get his own place. I thought bro was going to the streets.
I want him to go to the streets.
I mean, low key.
Want him to go to the sewer. Maybe he can build himself up.
Get in there. Start smelling some moldy cheese. His parents, especially his mother, have been not the same with him since. I still talk to his mom on occasion. Lastly, David and I took the liberty of sending screenshots of Jake's abuse as many people as he'd been hooking up with as possible, which, remember, is like the whole town and Opie's family. A couple of sleepless nights were spent trying to track people down on Facebook. Part of it was to get back at Jake, but most of it was to make sure that none of them got roped into a full relationship with him and had to deal with the crap I'd gone through. By the way, if you want something that helps you avoid going through these crappy situations, having someone do this to you, or you know what, getting caught up in the anger to do this revenge yourself, right? To completely avoid it, guys.
Don't get caught up.
We have 2,000 episodes full of good, goofy advice. If you go to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, your favorite podcast app, search OK Storytime, 2,000 episodes.
2,000.
Right there.
That's a lot of episodes.
A lot of advice, a lot of goof.
That's a lot of episodes.
But Sam, we still got a little bit left, but what are we thinking at this point?
I mean, OP, I think, has finally done it, finally pushed Jake away, which should have happened way earlier.
Yeah.
But I'm glad OP is finally getting away. I don't know about this method of all of this
it's too
revenge. I think it's a little bit too much. But hey, maybe it's the lesson Jake needed to right his wrong.
I am curious because OP brought up a good point. Comments out there. When do you think it's appropriate, or what situations have you seen where someone should go and out the cheater or the bad partner, where you actively go? I'm curious of your thoughts and opinions in the comments.
Yeah, I don't. It's hard. It's like I've heard the argument before where it's like, oh, you need to break the story before they do, you know?
Right, yeah.
But that feels like what's the thing where it's like, it feels like Cold War politics, you know?
Yeah,
where it's like we need to bomb them before they bomb us. It's like it's like a aggressive defense.
I generally feel like, especially not like marriages where there's divorce involved, like just like breaking up a non-marriage relationship, generally not life isn't like every Reddit story we read, you know?
Yeah.
Like it generally will work out okay and you don't need to frickin' just sing to the hills.
Yeah, and I think also like character speaks louder than words.
Yes.
And so the person who's like trying to defame you, maybe some people believe them, but the like their true character will come out. And so it's usually not even worth trying to like defame them first. I think some of just like as a rule, the worst atrocities and most hurtful things that have happened in the world come from a side saying we need to do it to them before they do it to us.
Yeah. Oh. History.
And
okay, history.
And I think okay, history. Ooh.
Could kind of bang.
Yeah. So I think generally not a good move.
I agree. But if you disagree with us, give it to me.
Let us
give
know.
Give it to us in the comments.
Put
okay?
your answers in the comments.
Give me your
you
paragraphs.
guys are very vocal when you disagree with us.
Oh yeah.
And we love it. We love it.
Feed on it.
Please.
Anyways. Let's finish the story. So there it is. My little story of pro revenge. I wasn't ever planning on posting my story here, but I was scrolling through Facebook the other day, and one of Jake's new accounts popped up on the people you may know section. After talking with Emma about it, she suggested posting it here. I hope it fits the subreddit. Bye. And quick edit. First of all, thank you for all the comments and awards. I'm doing a lot better now. This happened a few years ago, and I haven't had to deal with Jake since. Secondly, I saw a few people confused about the plate part, thinking that I was still in the house, so why would he text me? I left for work by the time he'd gotten out of the shower, so he couldn't really yell at me. Also, my mother was at work, so I didn't leave with him. Don't worry. I edited this in my general post to clear things up for people, just in case by chance you didn't see that. I hope that helps. Last quick edit. I saw a lot of people were confused by the comments about my gender. I'm a bi male. Jake is also bi. I hope this cleared up any confusion. I don't know why I had written it before. And that's cool. That's it. That's all we got on that story.
Well, I think that story gets 3 big booms from me. Boom! Boom! Boom!
Bring the boom!
Bang the boom! You know, I still have never seen an actual video. I've just only seen people doing that. I haven't seen an actual video of theirs.
I've seen very few.
Is it good?
Kids.
Like, is it good? Why are people into it? I mean, obviously people are into it.
Friendly type of content.
I think it's not the well, it is the content, but it's like it's fun to like make fun of lightheartedly.
It's more of a meme now.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a meme.
Noted.
I think my wife is having an affair, so I hired a private investigator. Everyone needs one. My wife is cheating on me. Things have been off with my wife. We have been together for 15 years and married for 5. We have a 14-month-old, and things have been rough since he was born, with them getting a lot worse in the last few months. She's gotten face injections and has gone through weight loss that would point to substance use. She's been protective of her phone and generally dodgy. By the way, this comes from throwaway09836478, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to r/OKStorytime subreddit. So, I confronted her and was completely gaslit, to the point that I set an appointment with a therapist because I thought I was being paranoid and insecure and had to figure out why I felt the way I did. She's a good gaslighter.
Yeah, send someone to therapy.
Yeah.
Put your best gaslighters in the comments below. Who kept the therapist employed? Let us know.
She went to the mountains yesterday saying that she needed a weekend to herself. And she wanted to go snowboarding and get a full night's rest away from the fussing baby, and it didn't feel right. She went back on birth control without discussing it with me. She went and got face injections. She went and got waxed and asked me to put the board rack on her roof despite claiming she was the only one going. Wow. So many signs. There were too many red flags for me to not hire a PI. The PI immediately secured photographs and video of the affair. Turns out she's effing her boss. They're up there until Sunday, probably still effing right now. I feel like a fool. We've all hung out multiple times. Oh, I'm so mad that she could blow up not just our lives, but the life of our 1-year-old. I'm stuck having to deal with her because of her shared son for essentially the rest of my life. I contacted a lawyer to file for divorce and plan to confront her when she gets back, but the divorce isn't likely to process for over a year. This is going to for a long time. I confronted my wife about her affair. I found out that my wife was having an affair with her boss. For context, we have been together for 15 years, married for 5, and have a 15-month-old son. I found out while she was going on a girls' trip that she actually went and picked up her boss and spent the weekend in an Airbnb. I have been suspecting infidelity for a while and even confronted her about it, but was completely gaslit. I thought there was a problem with me. I made and went to appointments with a therapist to figure out why I had so much trouble trusting my partner and couldn't get the feeling that there was something wrong to go away. When she left for her trip, I made the decision to hire a PI and thought that the apology for the betrayal of not trusting her while getting validation that I was just being paranoid would be easier to deal with than not knowing. After not even 45 minutes on the clock. Ooh.
No.
Ooh. The PI had
freaking-
photos and video of her picking him up, them very casually kissing, and finally ending the night going into the Airbnb. 45 minutes on the clock. Dang.
Dude didn't even get paid hourly.
Dang. Well, presumably he's kind of stayed the whole day.
Who knows, man? If you have photo evidence that quickly, dude, I'm just saying this PI is too good at what he
He's
does.
too good. You're too quick. I got this confirmation on a Friday and she didn't come home until Sunday morning. The whole time she was gone, she texted and called and went on like nothing was up. I had a small breakdown after finding out, and the first person I called was my therapist. Having an established therapist is one of the silver linings of the gaslighting. The second phone call I made was to my sister, who lives in the same state but a while away. She came up and was there for me and helped me to stabilize. My next thoughts were how to move forward and set myself up to be out of the house, but still be in a position to have my son for at least 50% of the time. I'm going to outline my actions quickly in case, God forbid, anyone else finds themselves in a similar situation. I contacted my hunting buddy and asked him to take my rifles and bow. I didn't want any claims of unsafe space from my wife, citing the rifles being in the house, even though I keep them in a safe.
Smart.
Bought and installed a nanny cam for the confrontation. I didn't want any claims of DV or abuse to come down to he said, she said. I live in a one-party consent state, so this was a no-brainer. I found a furnished month-to-month rental, needed to accommodate working from home and have 2 bedrooms and be in a good enough area that there could be objections. Dang. Found a short-term Airbnb to bridge the gap between then and when my month-to-month lease would start. Had to check the same boxes as the month-to-month rental. Talked to a therapist, as crazy as it sounds. Figuring out what you want in this situation feels impossible. Are you willing to allow your spouse to steal your ability to live with your son for 50% of his life between 1 and 18 plus? That's 9 years.
Dude, he just turned like 2 months ago.
Not seeing the decision to leave as your decision is so much harder than you believe, and it effing sucks. Practice, practice, practice. I laid out the conversation to be 3 to 5 minutes to avoid escalation. I laid it out as, I know about the affair. I'm not ready to talk. I'm moving out while I figure out a path forward. We need to have a conversation about how we're going to handle custody of our son in the short term while I figure out a path forward. Play it through your mind or out loud and do that through a number of expected responses. Expect them to be angry, sad, mad, denial. Try to work it around to be your fault. Don't try to win, but you cannot lose. This is way more important if there is a kid or kids that you plan on fighting for. Don't get petty. Don't set their crap on fire. Don't go out of your way to piss them off. You're going to have a relationship with this person for the rest of your life through your relationship with your son. Crap is already going to be really hard. Don't make it harder, and don't give them any ammunition to bring up or use against you. Whoa, this
Dude.
guy laid it out.
I'm going to write a book about how to react when you get cheated on with a kid that's 14
I'm going to
months old.
cite this guy.
That's all
He
him.
knows exactly what to do step by step. And it's really nice that he's going through this with this therapist because you can tell this is like
A lot of work
laid
has
out,
been done here.
Yeah, which is excellent. This is what you should be doing. You shouldn't be like, especially when you have kids
Oh, yeah.
with that partner, you do, like, that was an excellent point. You do need to have a relationship with them. You have to figure out how to co-parent effectively. And it's not, you can't just be like, oh, your parent did this. And like, oh, I hate your parent. Like, you don't want to influence your biases about your partner
Yeah.
onto your kid. So great work, OP.
That'd be so hard, though.
Like, this is a person who hurt you really bad. And usually, you're telling everyone, oh, I hate that person. But now you got a kid. But there is more to this story. Unfortunately for me, I didn't expect the no response.
That's crazy because she always would gaslight
Yeah,
him.
she's always like, bah. My wife sat there and said nothing. Not, I'm sorry. Not, it was a mistake. Not copping to it. Just a blank slate. In the days since, I have continued to see my therapist and identified the gaslighting and emotional abuse that has been taking place in the months leading up to discovering the affair. This is apparently very common in instances of infidelity, as it gives the cheater justification to their actions, helps them sleep at night. Even now, I feel my wife is trying to manipulate me into taking her back and working it out for the sake of our son. I don't trust her, and what's worse is I don't trust myself to talk to her about what happened. I'm afraid of getting gaslit again and feel like the whole thing was my fault. I set time on Monday with the marriage counselor to finally have the conversation on what's happened and how we can try to move forward as co-parents for our son. She has already tried to claim that this was the first time and a mistake. I don't believe her, but also don't have proof that she's lying. Not sure how I'm going to handle that on Monday. I can't imagine a path forward that involves staying married with her. I also can't imagine forfeiting being there for half of my baby's life without being able to look them in the eye when the time comes and tell them that I tried everything that I could to be there for them. This is going to stay for a while. Don't cheat. And there is a second update. This guy, knows what he needs to do, which is sad, but it's good that you have a plan and you just got to stick to it no matter what your wife says, because she's in the wrong. And
Oh, buddy. So
100%. Don't let her trick you.
Yeah, because if she's lying that this is the first time and a mistake, you could get her phone and see the call logs.
Yeah. But also, regardless if this was the first time, it clearly was ongoing.
Yeah.
And also, she didn't own up to it and she gaslit you about it. So the fact that it happened once is enough. But there is another update to the story. A while back, I wrote about catching my wife in an affair with her boss. Let's call him Benny. And her, Chrissy. I've had a crazy amount of DMs asking me if I was all right and asking for updates. So I'm going to drop this last post before deleting the account. If you want the background, you can check my post history. I'm not going to rehash it all again. Also understand that this is not a complete history. It's been a long 8 months. Whew. Very shortly after I moved out, I had a friend tell me that Chrissy went out to dinner with his wife and the wife of another friend of mine who were her friends. He said that she got wasted, told them what happened, and then when they weren't sympathetic, invited Benny out with them. Said that it was a whole scene and she was all over him. She later admitted that she went and spent that night at his house, but swore up and down that they didn't sleep together and spent the night on his couch. Swore that she felt alone and like none of her friends cared about her and didn't want to be alone at the Airbnb. At the time, we were switching off, staying at the marital home when it was our days with our son, and the other would F off to an Airbnb. We went to see a therapist at that time. Oh, okay. So they have split and she and the boss are still getting together.
Still getting together. He's being very nice and letting her stay at the Airbnb so he can go to his home.
We went to see a therapist at that time. Therapy went the way of straight trickle truthing. She would wait to see what I knew, copped only that, and swear there was nothing else. She swore that the time I caught her, which she spent an entire weekend with him in an Airbnb, was the first and only time. She cried and begged for me to believe her and give her another chance and take her back. She said that he was old and she didn't find him attractive and called him short and said it was just a mistake. She said that it wasn't about him, but rather what she was going through and he was just a symptom. She said that she'd do anything. I said she had to tell me the truth and she refused to budge from her original story. So after hitting a brick wall in couples therapy and her refusing to tell me the truth about what happened, I said I couldn't keep going. I signed a long-term lease and tried focusing on myself with the understanding that we would try therapy again in a few months. We continued to split custody 50-50, and Chrissy made a legit effort to try to help me settle into my new place. We started going through mediation for a divorce. Why start mediation if we're planning on trying therapy again? What we said out loud was because it takes forever, and if therapy went the same way as the first time, we didn't want to be stuck in limbo longer than we had to be. A couple of months into mediation, the mediator asked us if we had seen a therapist that specializes in infidelity. We said that we had seen a couples therapist, but not a specialist. She said that she had some referrals if we were interested. Chrissy said she was, and that she'd be willing to go if I would agree to it. I agreed to it as well. With how far we got through mediation, it felt like it was then or never. What is this infidelity therapy? Are they going to
I've never heard of this.
Yeah, are they going
before.
to pressure them to, I don't know, they're going to be like, you guys should get back together.
I think like there's something wrong with your ear and you have to go to the ear doctor to fix it.
Yeah, and they're
It's like
like,
that.
oh, we can fix this ear. Or it's like, nope, you're going to lose your hearing.
Yeah, exactly. Instead of going to like the doctor that checks you all up, it feels like that. I didn't know that was the thing though.
I didn't know that either. Going in to see the specialist, I had given our marriage a 5% shot at surviving the year. But Mr. Throwaway, how could you not be 100% done after knowing that she was still lying about the affair? The plain answer is I wanted to believe that she would show up and tell the whole truth and ask for forgiveness for what she had done and for not being able to come clean the first time. This is interesting because it seems like if she had told the full truth, he would have been willing to maybe figure out a way to work together again, but she just can't.
There's some integrity behind that because he's still willing to give his marriage everything, but she's not. Even if there was like a limbo of not giving the marriage everything, he still wants her to commit 100%. And that starts with telling the whole truth.
The whole truth and nothing but the truth. I think I would have seen a path, albeit a long one, back to trying to make our family whole. Also, the prospect of missing half of your son's life when they're so young is difficult to face down and just say that's 100% off the table. So we have a joint introductory session with the specialist and then a week later, an individual one. It was after that I was given information that Chrissy had still been seeing Benny. I didn't believe it. I looked into it and checked with a few other sources and then was presented with indisputable evidence that she not only had continued to see him, but had brought him around our son multiple times. Ew.
She's saying one thing in therapy and then lying right to your face.
I haven't mentioned it, but we had an agreement that we would communicate to each other and get sign off if anyone outside of family was going to be introduced or hang out with him. She had broken this agreement. I was crushed. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't understand it. Why agree to see the specialist if you've been seeing Benny? Why not just file and move forward? It felt like some sociopath crap. I flat out asked her if she had been seeing Benny in an accusatory tone, and she said that she had. I asked if she had brought him around our son, and she straight lied and said that she saw him when she didn't have our son and after our son had fallen asleep. I asked why she would agree to see the specialist if she had been seeing Benny. Why not just go through with the divorce? She said that she didn't want our son to grow up in a broken home. I lost it. I said some mean crap that I honestly can't remember, but was along the lines of her being just like her mother, and hung up. Then the fishing began. She texted and asked questions and tried denying without being specific about what she was denying, with lines like, "You jumped to an awful lot of conclusions there." She tried gaslighting me into thinking that it wasn't a big deal. I thought you'd be more pumped to not have to go through any more therapy and make me be the one that called it quits. I honestly am appalled that you've taken the stance that you have.
Hang, dude.
She's leaning hardcore into the gaslighting. She's like, that's crazy that you want to divorce me for this. Wow.
What? She's pulling all the cards she has because she knows she's losing.
She's going to lose him.
Crazy.
It's coming. I can feel it in my bones. I started thinking on why I was so upset. I said to myself that the odds of therapy working out and her coming clean about the whole thing were low. This was the likely outcome. I wondered why I would agree to go back despite being told that she spent the night with him again after the first time that I caught her. I started taking long walks at night when I didn't have my son to think on the whole thing. I reflected on this for a while and came to the conclusion that I was upset that I felt like she chose him over me, and that made me feel worthless. I ignored a lot of the crap in an attempt to not feel worthless. After a few more walks, I came to the conclusion that that just wasn't true. She begged me to take her back on her terms, and I had refused her. She didn't choose him. She was stuck with him. There we go. He's realizing his worth. He's like, no, I denied her. I rejected her. Just because she's coming crawling back to me doesn't make me the problem.
We're going to be seeing a huge glow up with OP.
Oh, yeah. Benny is sending his kid from his last marriage off to college. If he sticks around, he'll be collecting Social Security by the time Chrissy and my son are out of the house. He's supposed to trust her knowing how they met, and she's supposed to trust him knowing that infidelity doesn't bother him. Plus, imagine the anxiety that would wash over you when people ask how they met. That's the thing. When people are like, get with their affair partners.
Yeah. How'd you guys meet?
Oh, I was married at the time. We were at a bar, and then we started sleeping together on the down low.
Just the talk of how people met when they're in a relationship with someone else is like, if it's like boyfriend, like, oh, I was with someone else, like a boyfriend at the time, and then I met, and then we became friends and blah, blah, blah. Cool. But marriage in the context of anything marriage-wise, meeting someone else that you're going to be together with later on and explaining that's where I'm like,
I got you. I see what you're saying. She took away any doubt that moving forward with the divorce is the right thing. I'm stuck co-parenting with her, but I get to do that from a place of having seen her and can go into it with eyes wide open. And I want your guys's ears to be wide open so that you can listen to more full episodes with stories like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app and search up OK Storytime. But there's a little bit left to this story. Do you have any final thoughts?
OP said everything that I was thinking and more.
Hopefully soon ex-wife is the worst, and she's a stinky little cheater, and she's a gaslighter, and she's not worth it.
This is what I hope for. I hope that you have more custody of your child because it seems like that's very important to you. And you can use this information that you have to get more of it.
That's true. But there is a little bit left to the story. If this seems disjointed, it is. I wrote this over several sittings and did it for myself to help with introspection as much as anything. But by the time I was done, I figured there wasn't any harm in changing the names and giving a last update. To those that reached out with support, even though I didn't respond, please know it was appreciated. For those that only reached out to ask for updates out of what I assume to be morbid curiosity, I'd recommend some long walks and a bit of introspection. And to Chrissy, if you see this, please know that you are just like your mother and you're going to end up just like her. Dang! Opie's like, and stab with words.
Apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
But that is the end of that story.
My fiance ran off with the guy she cheated on me with. Now she's broke.
Ooh, karma.
Ooh. Hello, everyone. Writing this on mobile. Please forgive formatting errors. We forgive you, OP.
I won't.
Sophia doesn't forgive you.
I don't forgive you.
I was in a decade-long relationship with the person mentioned in the title. We have a child together who's in the first grade. Recently, I discovered she was siphoning from our daughter's money I would put away every month, like school fees and savings, as well as using her salary to fund expensive hotel and guest house stays with one of her employees under the guise of work. By the way, this comes from throwaway_repeater on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. I called her out on this as soon as I found out. And her new guy's reaction was to send people to my house because she gave him the address, I would later find out, to clean up everybody living in it, for lack of better terms. I wouldn't include this if not a necessary part of the story. Please forgive it if it treads any lines with the sub rules. Her reaction to that, I antagonized him by confronting her, so no foul in her book. I am blowing it out of proportion despite multiple voice notes and text messages. I kicked her out of the house due to obvious danger in this, and her new guy cannot help her with a place to stay. Without giving too much away, she earns less than half of what I do, and he earns a quarter of what she does.
So they can't support each other.
Not at
and
all.
their work.
Not at all. She's currently couch surfing around her friends and relatives' places while he allegedly lives with his mother in a studio apartment. Recently, she's contacted me to ask me to co-sign on a lease with her as she doesn't have any other options. And while I want to help her because I care about her, I also feel she has made her own bed and should lay in it alone or with that guy. The consequence of all this up and down is that legally he's not allowed anywhere near our daughter anymore, so the two of them moving in together would likely mean she cannot see our daughter anywhere. She knows this, and this is partially why she asked for my help, as if the other guy signs with her, he will want to move in with her. Should I feel bad and help her out? Should I tell her this is her doing and leave her to her own devices? Terribly conflicted. What do I do, guys? And there is an update, but what do we think so far?
This is a little tricky because, like, obviously she's at fault for these things here, and you don't owe her anything.
Yeah.
But it's also kind of figuring out how to co-parent and how to, you know, like have your daughter's mother be in her life.
Yeah.
Like, again, like, you don't owe her anything. Maybe Angel move would be to help her out a little bit.
Thank you for your advice, everyone. There are simply too many comments to respond to them all. I have a small update to share with you. I'll make a full-blown post probably a week or so from now, depending on how things go. My now ex has voluntarily checked into a shelter/home for women whose lives have come off the rails tonight, and after speaking with them, they've assured me that she is indeed there tonight and that they test for drugs as a part of the administration process and as part of the ongoing board and lodging requirements. It warms my heart somewhat that she understands that she needs help. This covers the roof over her head temporarily and makes sure she is on the straight and narrow for the next while. I think it may be too late to salvage our relationship and trust, but I wish her the best in recovery. That's a very mature way to look at it. And I'm glad that she's getting some help.
Me too.
And that it's not necessary that he's the one that helps her.
No, you can find help other places.
Exactly. Lastly, someone here has reached out to me who knows me in real life, as this story is a big deal in my local community.
Whoa.
That's crazy. They've pointed out that the AP junkie whatever is indeed among the comments here, and I hope he too is learning from the responses of others about being a decent human being.
Ooh,
whoa.
He's here?
He's here. He is in the room.
He's in the room with us? We summoned him?
Update number 2. Today was a frustrating one. Uh-oh. It was the restraining order hearing, and he, AP, didn't turn up to court.
Dude.
Oh, yikes. It's important to note that while I have an interim order against him, we have to complete this stage of the process to get a 5-year, 10-year permanent order instated, as the interim expires at the end of February. Judge insists that there is not enough in the dozen voice notes, 4 call recordings, and 7 pages of pretty explicit text threats to deliver a verdict in absentia and set another date for April so he can be allowed to test his side of the story.
Basically saying that there isn't enough information to charge him without him being, because he's not there. He didn't show up.
I see. So it's probably enough to charge him, but he's got to be there.
Yeah.
For those of you who have asked about calling the cops or going the legal route, this is why I have zero faith in my local justice system. Personal note to you, homewrecker. I know you are here reading this and posting snide comments. My ex, your new puppet, has told me as much, and looking at them, it's obvious to me. You were a big man when you made direct, repeated threats of what you wanted to do to a little girl, which I won't go into the content of here, but we both know you meant more than the cleanup act you promised. If you are not man enough to sort this out as men supposedly do, at least have the cojones to explain yourself to myself and the court. Tell everyone here and see what these folks make of it for some free peer review opportunities before we see the judge. Thank you again, everyone, except you, AP. See you in court. Update number 3. Hello, everyone. I know I promised an update sooner, but there were many more twists in the tale after the last post.
Love to hear it.
And I've been busy trying to keep my and my daughter's heads above water. So, some old stuff. AP, 31 male, no-showed once again on the court date, and they furnished me with a cop-out order. So basically, if he approaches me or turns up at my house, etc., I can have him arrested. No actual punishment handed out, and this was a month ago. Ex convinced a friend, this will be important later, to co-sign a lease with her a few miles away from my residence, and she and the AP moved in together 2 weeks ago.
So she like tricked that, basically.
Yeah. All right, and now for the new wish stuff. AP was thrown out and nearly arrested after lashing out at her violently, believing me to be trying to woo her back via text. AP has told a mutual friend between us that I was texting his new girlfriend / my ex all manner of flirty and provocative things. I knew nothing about this, and this was a week ago. I find out that she had my name saved as a smokescreen on her phone. The friend she co-signed with was the person she was really exchanging inappropriate texts with. He was framed. Same. So there were texts,
Oh.
but it wasn't to the actual OP.
So she's double cheating.
Yeah. When AP looked through her phone and found my name sending nudes, etc. in her messages, he flipped out and confronted me over the phone. Thank the Lord for WhatsApp screen share. I quickly showed him that I had nothing to do with any of that. The friend she co-signed with proposed marriage. She accepted, which she insists is, we just met each other at the right time. Which she wants me to believe was a week after breaking up with AP. Unfortunately for her, it is not difficult nor illegal for me to find out who is on whatever property's paperwork. I suppose, in essence, she was seeing someone behind my back for at least 2 years and used this other junkie as something to get caught out on deliberately while waiting for myself and that junkie AP to potentially seriously maim or worse each other while she eloped into the sunset with this other bloke and our daughter. I don't know what to make of any of this. I thought I was recovering really well until I got wind of this, and now the levels of deceit are hurting me something awful. All the nights of eating canned beans and bread, sometimes not eating at all, so our daughter could eat decently every night when we supposedly didn't have money. My ex was never hungry, which I found out was because she was eating full meals at swanky restaurants before coming home from late shifts. All of it was because she was spending money in our joint accounts on 2 different dudes. So oh my gosh.
She's also spending their money.
Yeah, so not only, I was thinking she was like, getting these affair partners to pay for her food, but she's using their money while they're starving over here.
That is
to
despicable.
cheat. That is insane. When you have a young daughter too,
yeah, and you
my
don't care
goodness.
about her at all.
Yeah. Oh, wow. I don't know, guys. I might be back with another update. I might not. But thank you all for your advice, criticism, and opinions. I've left out some context on the money trouble. Our ex had signed our daughter up for some of the best extramural activities, with my blessing, with some of the most reputable places in the country. Karate, ballet, etc., which is expensive. She paid none of those bills, barring the initial month's payments from a joint account using my money. She didn't contribute a total of 10% to the fund, and she drew cash, which she said was to pay for those. The owners of those schools are now after me for the money, which is in the dozens of thousands.
No.
Oh my goodness. I have instigated legal action, but until that happens, I'm on the hook for the entire balance. Hope this explains it. So we have edit number 2, more context around the DM comments about, but she's right. It was your choice to do all that for her. I don't have any family in a 20-hour drive radius anymore. Her family disowned her and threw her out years ago to start with. We had some real hard times not long after our daughter was born because of an economic crunch in my country with no rising wages to combat that. I know it was my choice to help build the 2 of us up, but when I didn't have gas, train, or bus money, I was walking to and from work to feed someone who stayed home and looked after our baby, something I still see as a fair half of the bargain. Okay, I can see that.
Yeah.
Taking care of the baby, that's a lot of work too.
Yeah, absolutely.
That said, 13 miles there, 13 miles back in rain, snow, sun, whatever, no matter how sick I got, 7 days a week because I needed the extra shifts. I didn't eat well for those horrible 7 months. Times were that bad. I never did it to say, but I did this for you. It was always, we earned this for ourselves. For her to do this to me and our kid at this point, knowing what the heck I'd put myself through to get us here, getting her the cushy job she has today, it grates me. Sorry for the rant, but that it was your choice too, she also used those words, argument tells me how dead in the water we might be as a global society. Wow. It's just
Man.
taking down his whole viewpoint on humanity.
Yeah, he's like,
That's so
everyone
sad.
freaking sucks, man.
Yeah, I'm so sorry, OP.
Like, you're doing as much work as possible.
Yes.
To look after your wife and kids, or your partner and kid, and she's just taking that money.
This is a 2-parter. Forgive the second update post, but there's a new question at the end. These 2 things tie into each other, so rather one post for everything, right? There's this here and an AMA that will be hosted on Twitch this Sunday. Details to follow at the end of the post. Wow, good plug, dude. My apologies that this is a lot less exciting than the previous parts, but I've seen enough questions in the DM to make me post this. So my current situation. X and I are on speaking terms terms when it pertains to our little one.
That's fair.
That's nice, yeah. While it has not been much, she has contributed somewhat to her tuition and school costs over the last 2 months. For reference, the current split on the essential costs is approximately 85% from me and the remaining 15% from her. She and the original AP co-signed on a lease about 10 minutes drive from my house, and just about a month later, they broke up. She was almost immediately engaged to someone else. He seems to be nice, to be fair, and the original AP was out of the picture. These people all work for the same company, and it seems that she's the manager. I know this for a fact with the original AP. Not certain whether the new guy reports to her as well. Working my day job 50 to 60 hours a week and doing a whole lot of side jobs to make ends meet and full-time parenting while she's living her life on the other
Yeah, she's
side.
not helping at all. And every time that you wouldn't even want her to be around your kid because she would just put your
Right.
kid's life in danger.
And she's only contributing 15% of the finances while he's putting in so much work to
yeah.
make that 85%. Admittedly struggling, but a lot less stress than I have. We're getting back on our feet slowly but surely, but this is soul crushing to say the least. I've basically lost all the money I'd earned in the past 16 years through all of this and her constant response. And her constant response is, but it was your choice to support me.
That is so messed up.
So messed up.
So
oh my goodness.
messed up.
Like, the new question is, I found someone else that's so nice.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
Look it up.
We were an item from 2010 to 2014, and we're just in two very different phases of life at the time. And now we're back together, and she's been wonderful, helping support where she can mentally, emotionally, and even financially on occasion. Of course, I pay that back as soon as I can each month, and she doesn't want to hear no when I ask her not to pay certain things or go above and beyond for myself and my child in making our lives easier, even though she has her own kids. She's literally been paying off some of the bills behind my back, and it's so sweet. It scares me because I don't know affection like this. Is it PTSD I'm going through? By the way, something so sweet that you could do is join us live every weekday at 3 p.m. on YouTube. Just tap our profile.
Just tap it.
all you
This
gotta
is
do.
great. We had to go through all of that mess to get here.
The ex does not want my new person meeting our kid, but wants her new fiance to be involved. What do I do with this? I suppose what I really want advice on is, while I am infinitely grateful for her as a person, keeping my mind straight and her assistance with everything else, she says it's just money and that she doesn't care about it. She just wants me back at my best to focus on us, but I feel somewhat uncomfortable with it as I don't like feeling as though I owe someone. How do I lay down some boundaries with my new person doing such wonderful things for me? Would that spoil things between us?
I think that you can just say like, hey, I really appreciate everything that you do. I just never want it to feel like I'm mooching off you or anything.
Right. Yeah.
But that is the end of that story.
That was a lot.
Lot of story.
A lot of story.
My husband cheated on me with our best friend. They don't know that I know.
Ooh, they're gonna find out.
They're about to find out. It's about to
Ooh.
get messy. My 27 female, soon to be ex-husband, 27 male, cheated on me with our best friend, 27 female. I want to tell him that I know, but I don't know what to do. Hi all, I'm sorry that this is long, and I'm sorry if it's confusing. By the way, this comes from Alas, It's Cass on the OK Storytime subreddit. So, back in November of 2023, my soon-to-be ex, Jay, sat me down and told me that he wasn't in love with me anymore while our best friend and roommate, Marie, was away on work trip. I begged him to try and work it out and go to couples therapy, and at first he agreed. Quickly after he asked me for space, and I went and stayed at my sister's house out of state for the entire month of December 2023 while he and Marie stayed at the house. Getting a little suspicious about this Marie character.
Something's fishy.
Marie didn't reach out to me once, and she was supposed to be my best friend. New Year's weekend, Jay asked me if he could have even more space and asked that we don't talk for the weekend so that he can think about our relationship. I obliged, hoping he would want to stay, but in my heart, I knew it was over. On Monday, New Year's Day, I called him midday because I was under the impression that I could since the weekend was over. He didn't know, but he accidentally picked up my call, and I heard him yelling about how I was annoying to him, and he was doing exactly exactly what he said by not answering my calls, so I hung up the phone. Eventually, he called me back and I asked him why he was yelling. He told me someone cut him off while he was driving to Walmart. He told me he couldn't talk as he was doing something for work. I got panicky about the lack of communication with our marriage on the line and called Marie. She never picked up the phone and eventually texted that she was driving back from a rave she went to that weekend and couldn't talk. Or maybe you were driving back from an affair. Later on that day, I told Jay that I could feel that something was off, and he called me and told me that he wanted a divorce. I flew back home in January thinking we could live in separate rooms and fix up the house to sell. It's in both of our names. Maybe a week or two into that, he told me he couldn't live with me anymore. Due to my pay and how we split up our pets, it made the most sense for me to move out and for him and Marie to stay. Hindsight is 2020. How is OP not realizing, like, Marie's literally living with her husband?
Yeah, like there's just so many of their stories that
Yeah.
like don't make sense separately, but then when you put them together,
Put those little
So,
let those synapses fire.
yeah.
After I moved out, I went over to the house almost weekly to do my laundry, and I attempted to be friends with him. The next 10 months, I was devastated trying to figure out why Marie was pulling away from me and barely giving me the time of day. Jay was telling me one thing and talking to me like he cared that I was struggling with his cited reasons for the divorce. He called me manipulative, but said he knew it wasn't malicious, but it was all talk. I know that being friends right after a separation isn't smart, but they were my only support system as I live halfway across the country from any friends or family. The whole time, I thought something was going on between Jay and Marie. But they both said no, and I felt guilty for thinking that low of my best friends, LOL. I was tearing myself apart. I was in therapy weekly and questioning every single thought I had, wondering if I was being manipulative. I wanted to die. Moving back a little bit so we can move forward, Jay had quit his job back in February when I moved out and finally found one that was going to hire him in September on the East Coast. We decided that we would sell the house. In September, when I went over to do laundry with my clothes already in the washing machine, Jay and Marie told me that Marie was going with him. They told me again that nothing was going on between them after they sat and stared at me for 20 minutes while I tried to form a coherent response while having a panic attack and having them tell me that they need to be selfish and think about themselves. I think that's the only thing they've been thinking about.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like they're lacking that at all.
This is actually so the audacity that these two people have to literally be living together and then be moving away together and still tell OP nothing's going on.
like, no, we're just friends.
We're
this
just
whole time.
friends. These are just bestie activities.
Yeah, like we never like cheated with you or on you
No.
at all. Like
No.
we're just doing this to
It's for
better
us.
our mental health.
Yeah.
That's it. That's it.
Literally it. I escaped to the laundry room, sat down on the floor, and sobbed. Eventually, Marie came in and found me and held me while I was sobbing. She looked me in the eyes and told me that she would never do something like that to me. Seems like you're doing it right now.
Yeah. Oh.
Jay looked me in the eyes and promised me that nothing was going on. After that moment, I told Marie that her choice was made at the expense of our friendship. She told me she was sorry things turned out this way and that she hoped I'd find happiness. I haven't spoken to her since. She blocked me on some social medias and I finished the job and blocked her on the ones she missed. Jay and I barely speak since he left. He didn't even wish me a happy birthday. 2 days ago, a mutual friend heard my side of the story and they informed me that the New Year's Eve weekend, Jay was actually also at that rave where he shared a hotel room with Marie and told our mutual friend that he was crazy about her. You freaking suck.
Very, very interesting.
So interesting, you freaking liars.
And she's still like looking at her while she's crying.
yeah, and it's like I would never do that to you.
No, absolutely not.
How can you live with yourself?
Yeah, that's
You
crazy.
guys suck. I feel like I might actually explode from anger. They spent almost an entire year lying to my face and making me feel like I was crazy. By the way, if you're crazy about us, you can join us live every weekday at 3 p.m. PST on YouTube. Just tap our profile. And there is a little bit left to this story, but do you have anything at all left to say about these horrible people?
that just sucks.
It just sucks.
Because she's moved across the country.
Yeah.
This is her like only support system.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Her friend and her husband.
And they're being a little bit too supportive of each other.
Yes.
And not supportive of
absolutely.
her.
They're having this affair for over a year now
Yes.
and gaslighting the heck out of her.
Gaslighting so hard.
Like, Oh my goodness. Like that's just so hard to have your trust like played
Shattered
with like that.
by both the your husband and your best friend.
Yeah. She was like sobbing on the floor
Yeah.
about this stuff. And then the best friend is like
I would
comforting her. And
never
it's like,
do
no,
that.
of course
yes,
not.
you would. Yes, you would.
Of course. Like you're doing it.
You're actively doing it.
That blows my mind.
Ridiculous. I want to tell him that I know, and I want to tell him how disgusting he is, but our house is still on the market and he's waiting to file for divorce until it's sold. What should I do? I don't know if burning the bridge would affect how this process will go, if he'll make it more difficult. I really don't know what to do. I typed out a long message to send him, and all my friends want me to, but I'm scared it will make the process difficult. I feel like I'm being eaten alive out of anger and disgust, though. I'm sorry this is long. There's just so much that looking back on was a clear sign. Things I didn't even include, and I wanted to believe them so badly, I let it destroy me. What would you guys do? And that is the end of that story. I think it really depends. Like if you have a lawyer, it might help that you know that there's been infidelity and you have proof of it, or hopefully you have proof of it.
They're waiting to get a divorce because he's gonna move out. Is that
I
right?
think so.
They don't want to be divorced in the
yes.
same house.
Yeah, exactly.
That makes sense.
So they're trying to
I wouldn't
sell
wanna
this
do that either.
house, and they're like, she's like, I don't know if the divorce proceedings will be made harder if I
Yeah.
bring this up. I don't want to antagonize him.
Oh, that makes sense.
Find your other friends, move across the country to be with them.
Yeah. Honestly.
Leave this horrible man. He
Oh, my
doesn't deserve
goodness.
anything.
Yeah.
But that's the end of the episode. So if you love us, make sure to subscribe.
We love you.
And see you tomorrow.